Leicester City won the Premier League because they bought a centre midfielder who was on a different level.
Yeah.
And a winger on a different level. And a striker who was on 3 players. Take them 3 players out, you still had Robert Huth playing. You still had all these players playing who probably 2 years later, most of them actually aren't even playing. So I'm a big believer that we've got the recruitment so wrong for years.
Yeah.
But you're still only a really good window away with everything you've got from being a successful team.
Yeah.
I do.
On today's episode of Inside the Game, I am joined by former footballer who played for Everton, Manchester City, Burnley, Crewe, Chester City. He's also coached in Australia, India and Saudi Arabia, and has now set up his own business to help people in the community. It is Tony Grant. Tony, where did it all begin then? How did you start playing footy, and what's sort of your earliest memory of that?
So I'm from a borough called Sparrowhall, which used to be a famous pub called the Crown, just off the East Lancs Road. So we're at the very tip of Walton, over the road from Norris Green, the tip of Exactly. And it's just a small little borough, and that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
My dad was a Blue. So, you follow your dad, don't you? Because they're going to take you the game. That's how you follow them. So, our journeys, we're talking early, mid-80s now. And I'm playing football, Sunday League, playing for the schoolboys, under 11s. So I'm a good little footballer. And football's my passion. At the time, Everton had a good team. Dad takes me to go and watch them. We used to walk the match most of the time, unless I think it was the 17 or 19 would turn up, which would be Rams, and we just jump on it. That would take us to go somewhere. Otherwise, we'd walk it right down past Walton Park. And I was in that lucky era where we had a really good team. And because I was round to me footy. My dad was a good amateur player, really good amateur player back in the day when teams like the Plough would win like the National Cup and were quite a famous non-league team. Well, he was ever present, and he was his favourite player was Ray Wilson growing up. And obviously I heard stories of Harvey Ball and Kendall, Vernon, Golden Vision. I heard all these stories. So School of Science was like a big name. So all these words, you actually think a young boy listening to School of Science, that sounds like, it's quite impressive, isn't it, as a word? It's an impressive word. It paints a picture of something you're going to see before you... It's like going to theatre, isn't it? And you're going to watch, I don't know, Blood Brothers or something, and someone gives you a rundown of what it's about, and you paint pictures in your brain of what it's going to be like. And sometimes you get there and it might not be, and sometimes it's better and sometimes it's worse. So I'm getting pictures painted of the School of Science, and that's always stuck with me, that Harvey Ball and Kendall. And then you ask questions: what was he like? What was he like? What was he like? And you get it back and stories of what he's seen. Cup finals, tackles. So then I go into the theatre, which is Goodison Park, and then you start watching your players. And then my era was watching Bracewell and Reid, take no prisoners, yeah, but then give it to better players, who then can go and supply your big striker in Sharp, who can go and do stuff. And then when the opposition got behind you, you had the pace of like a ratters getting back. So you were nearly always walking away on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday early evening with your points, but also loads of talking points of how good was that? What about that pass? Did you see that pass? And so that was the early eras, really, getting to Goodison Park.
How did that transcend to you as a player then? I mean, how did you just, was your dad have you kicking a ball? Because obviously he was a good player, you said yourself, so that thing of take it out with a ball, and then like how did you get into your first team, so to speak?
Yeah, I think Liverpool's that city where everyone's got a ball.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a ball. So, your dad's playing footy, but your dad goes to work, doesn't he? And most weekends he goes for a pint with his mates as well, but you've got the ball, so your ball becomes your best mate anyway. And then your mates are knocking around, because, you know, when we all grew up, we just knocked on people's houses and we just go and find somewhere to have a shooty. So you always got a ball, haven't you? So you've always got a ball. But your first team, I always remember one of my really good mates, Billy, we were going down to a Sparrow Hall Youth Centre in one of the summer months. And as we turned the corner, a young lad called Davey, we called him young Davey Hargreaves, but he's older than us, right? But because his arm man was called Davey Hargreaves, you see. But Davey approached us to ask us if we want to sign for a football team called the Bulford, which is where I'm from, Bulford Road, which is Sparrow Hall, really. So my dad started a club. So that was our first club. Was we signed the form. I ran home, made up. Look at these forms, young Davey, just give us these forms here. Can we sign this? Needs a 40. Couldn't wait to give it back to him. So that was how we first signed. I think I would have been. It would have been in the under 11s. I think that was the youngest, and I would have been 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And that was how both became quite a famous Sunday League team from the Walton and Kirkdale League. That was the league we played in. I lived opposite the pitch.
Nice.
So you could throw a stone at my window, and get me out of bed if I needed to, which never happened. I think it happened once because my mum and dad had been out on a night out and no one had woke me up. So the manager had ran over, throwing stones at the window. We've got a game. And then up, out, bang, playing. So that was the first team. But the whole neighbourhood, you know, we had lots of... it was like a community then.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So you had lots of people who wished you well, and who supported kids. And different fellas had different teams. And, you know, I could be on... the LBA, or it could be on St Philly's Field, which I lived in between two of them, and someone else could be training. If you were knocking about, you just go and train with them or play footy with them, you know. So there was football going on every single day, and, you know, in the summer it was always with the older lads, and it was just, you know, where we lived we were quite lucky because we had an indoor football. I mean, it'd probably get condemned now, right? But it was an indoor hump. And an old fella called Billy, he ran that with his wife. So we had loads of opportunities years ago to improve without knowing it, just because you love it.
Yeah.
But you actually really, you're nurturing your abilities, you know what I mean? But, yeah.
Great start. So you get into this team, you playing in midfield at the time?
I was, yeah. Centre mid, yeah.
Centre mid, yeah.
Yeah. And I went to play for Liverpool Boys then. So my school was St Philomena's. And we had a head teacher, Miss Callahan, who I loved, Miss Callahan. She was hard as nails. She controlled the area. Because she'd go for a walk, and even the older lads would see her walking, and they'd all scarp her. So she had a lot of respect. But she was a good woman. But I remember there was a bit of a debate of whether they're letting me go for even the trials. Yeah, this was at 10. So I know my dad had to go in and see her, because she was more worried about what if you don't get in. Okay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So even back at the time, she was brilliant. Anyway, I went and I got in Liverpool Boys under 11, so that was the City team. Robbie Fowler was playing for them at the time, so that's when I got to know Robbie then, because he's from the south end of the city, I'm a north end of the city, so I didn't know him. So he's playing for this Sunday League team. But he gets in the team, and that's how we became friends from 8 to 10. But I remember my first game for Liverpool under 11s, which is really unique because, well, not unique, but I remember it because my dad never drove me dad, but he was at every single game. Yeah. And I mean, hail, rain or snow, game kicks off, my arm man's there, right? And most of the time he'd be on his own, you know what I mean? Because, you know, he's coming to watch me. I'm playing for Liverpool Boys, and it was only on, like, when we were playing in Birmingham would he go in a car with, like Robbie's dad say. Nice. But when he's watching me and we're playing Whittle Boys miles away in Whittle somewhere, he's got to get there. So he gets his trains, he gets his buses. He knew everywhere to get, but he never drove me, dad. But this game we're playing, I think we played Bootle Boys, and I played right wing, and we won 5. And I remember my dad was ill. He was never ill, my arm man, but he was ill. So he never come. So my mum come with my Sunday League manager, Davey Hargreaves. So they picked me ma up, and they took me mum. So we all went, and my man couldn't wait to find out because there was no phones, was there?
No,
You had to just wait. So when my mum come in, he said how'd it go, and she went, this was the first game of the season, you see.
Right.
She said how'd it go, and she went, there's this kid there playing, he was brilliant, this kid. He went, how did Tony do? She said, no, it was Tony, he was brilliant. I said, why? He said, well, he won 5-0, he scored 4. Yeah, so scored 4 from right wing. But I didn't play right wing often, and as I evolved years later, I've always played centre mid, but as I evolved, I probably should have played right wing more. I should have listened more to the coaches, really. But I always had this thing in my head. I wanted to be like Reedy and Bracewell, really. I wanted to be a centre mid. So that was me playing on the wing. Yeah.
How did you sign for Everton then? Because obviously, like you've just said, Liverpool is a hotbed of football, and you've just talked about, the likes of Robbie Fowler.
Yeah,
was an incredible footballer, wasn't he? And the city was bursting with talent at that time, it seemed. And there was obviously, this is an era for people who are trying to get their head around the way it is now compared to then. Is that now clubs are looking everywhere, aren't they, far and wide to get out people? But there was a lot of local talent. And it still happened. You still got people in from different areas, but certainly around that time there was a lot of local talent.
I think the era we had then, growing up in mid-80s, late 80s, early 90s, there was a lot of negativity in the city of Liverpool, a lot of despair, a lot of jobs going, a lot of people struggling. I have an old saying I've used around that era. We had growing up, we had nothing, but we had everything because we had all the support and we had the people around you who would make sure you got there if it meant going on 4 buses to get you up early. We're in an era now where you get out of bed last minute because everyone's got a car and you fly there and you speed to get there. So it's just even little things like that. The eras have totally changed. Communities then were communities. Now it's hard to find a community. Yeah. So the era was that's what that era was like. And then back then we're all playing Sunday League. So all the best players in the city, or every player in the city, is playing wherever they're from. So I'm North End, so I was in the Walton and Kirkdale League. Robbie's in, I don't know what his league was called, but he's down south, and other people are playing wherever. The Scotty Road League they're playing in. So you had scouts, and there was you'll know about him now, he's passed away now, but Sid Benson was a famous grassroots scout who would go and find players and give them to Everton. And anyway, I'm playing, and eventually they took the time, to be honest with you, because I'm banging goals in left, right and centre, no one's coming. But anyway, I end up signing for Everton through Sid when I'm probably around about 12, 13, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it might have been 12 actually. All that entailed at the time was going to Belfield once a week, maybe a Tuesday evening, and that's all that really entailed. And in the summer, you may go and do a week in there training, and every blue moon you'd have a game. But that's all that really entailed. And it was only until you got to 14 did they want you to sign like a schoolboy form, which meant you couldn't sign for Man U or Liverpool. And to be honest with you, I could have signed for Man U, Liverpool. But because my heritage was all blue, there was never a debate. There was never a talk or a conversation ever about, would you like to go? So it was just like, oh yeah, we'll sign that. So we're signing it. So that was that done. So what that meant, so from 14 to 16, which is when I was playing for Liverpool boys again, these 14s and under 15s, I'm actually under Everton's umbrella already. Yeah. You know what I mean? So then when I left school, 16, I went straight into my apprenticeship at Everton, and where I had to clean boots.
I was going to say that you're still in the cleaning boots era at that time.
Yeah,
you're 2 years younger than me, I think.
Yeah, so my first boots I cleaned was Martin Keown, and I must say, Shoot McCall. Yeah, Shoot McCall was it.
But did we just assign them to?
Yeah, I don't know how you got to sign. Somehow you got to sign him.
But did he treat you all right?
Well, Stuart McCall left halfway through, so he only ended up on Martin. Well, to be fair, not most of the players didn't like Martin Keown. That's just being dead honest with you. Because when he was a bit of a
think it's like that now.
A strange cat. But I do remember we had Peter Beardsley at the time there, and one of the lads was on Peter's boots. And coming Christmas, Peter set the tone. I think he gave his player a brand new pair of boots and a box. This is all big for us, and I think he gave him 40 quid, which we were like, wow, we got 40 quid there, because we were on YTS money, it's 28 quid a week we were on, do you know what I mean? So everyone's got something, bar one person, it's me. So I remember the youth coach, Foggy, saying to me, have you had anything off Martin? I went, no. I said, and I was a bit one of them guys, the young lads that I thought I was the best at everything, and I'm not interested now. Leg him now. I'm not interested in him now. I don't even want his money. Not interested, right? So say Foggy would go, no, we're going to get it. I was going, Foggy, I'm not interested. I don't want it. I don't want a penny off him, right? So it's the trait that's probably followed me all my life, actually. But anyway, I'm playing footy in the indoor, and Foggy shouts me from the door. I can still see him now, and Martin's behind him. And Foggy shouts me over. I didn't even want to go over. I was playing footy with a few of the lads in the gym, and I didn't even want to go over. And Foggy shouting me over, and they're walking on to the indoor now. So that's a run over. And Martin goes, hello, son. I went, all right, Mart. He went, I got your Christmas box for you. I went, oh, have you? He went, give me a tenner. I went, I don't even want it. I said, keep it. I don't want it. He went, do you not want it? In his accent, not my accent. He went, do you not want it? I went, no. He went, okay. And he went to put it back in his pocket, and Foggy took it off him. He went, he does want it, give us it. And he just went. And Foggy went, just take it. So I took the tenner off him. But I know. It was like, come on. Yeah, but anyway,
through gritted
teeth. That's just how Martin was, I suppose. But that was the really early days. That was 90, 91 though.
Yeah,
really early. Yeah.
When you're obviously you're doing, how did you find it going full time? Then how did you find it in the team, ability wise? Were you comfortable? Did you know? You just said you were very confident in your own ability and the rest of everything, so that's great. Did you feel playing in that youth team at the time, thinking I can get in the first team? Is that what your belief system is, or are you just trying to cope with kind of like the day to day at that time?
No, it was like, I think so. When I was 14, 15, 16, before going to Everton, I'd seen everyone in England and going, I'm better than all of them, and I was. And I go to Everton, and I'm thinking it was easy for me. Yeah. And I always knew I was going there. I knew at 14 I was signing for Everton properly. I knew it was never a doubt. Yeah. I was still going out with my mates. I was still playing footy, still messing about with my mates, but I knew I was signing for Everton, because once that game kicked off, I would be at that age group, I was the best player. Yeah. So I knew I was signing for Everton.
Because there was talk Liverpool was still trying to get you, because there's an old folk story. I don't know what you can tell me if this is nonsense, by the way, that Liverpool gonna swap Robbie Fowler for you because they really wanted it. Now that's done the right. I think, to be honest, I'll tell you, who first told me was Sid Benson.
Yeah, no.
But so I don't know. There was a buzz about you. 15. I think, with that. So,
I've never heard that, to be honest with you. I've never heard that tale, and I don't think Liverpool are that silly.
He was all right.
Yeah. So, but what Liverpool would have done and were doing was trying to get me. They were never ever going to swap, but they might have tried to get me.
Yeah.
Because I signed schoolboy forms, you had to wait till the schoolboy forms are finished. But then I was signing anyway. So it was like, it's no different than when Everton were trying to get Rob. Yeah. And he tried to get Rob all the way up until he signed for Liverpool. And he was always signing for Liverpool purely because he went there every...
Never told you at that time.
He was, but he was going to Liverpool like I was going to Everton every Tuesday night. He was going to Liverpool. So over them years, he bonded with all their coaches
and his mates.
Yeah. So in the end, that's where he is, rather than just jumping out of all them. Do you know what I mean? So he was there. They just got in before Everton. They got in before Sid. Sid, you listening, Sid? But they just got in, and that was it. So, no, that I haven't heard that story before, but
obviously there is born out of that. Liverpool wanted you and Everton wanted Robbie Fowler, and people have obviously
yeah.
gone,
And then
"He'd try, but
when I was 60, and as I say, I knew I was going into Everton for me was easy for me. I was made up. I just get a 61 bus stop, top of the road, straight into West Derby. I just love. I always remember my first year at Goodison was at Belfield was probably the most enjoyable year. I've still so many memories from that first season.
Yeah.
I was only a 16-year-old little skinny boy, and I just loved it. You know what I mean? Loved it because we still had that. When I first joined, I'm sure Ratters was still there. You know, Mark Ward. We had some characters. Wardy was there. You know, some characters knocking around the place. It was,
give you a good grounding.
It was brilliant. And then I got to know like people like Jimmy Gabriel, didn't I? Yeah. And then working with Colin Harvey and Howard Kendall, and I got fast tracked because I was better than all the 16s, 17-year-olds. So I'd get fast tracked to Jimmy's team, which was the reserves. Yeah. Jimmy loved me. We had a great relationship, me and Jimmy Gabriel. And I'd spend most of my time with him. And then if the first team had an injury or needed an extra body, I'd be one of the first to go shouted over.
Would you?
Yeah, do you know, at a really young age. So you would always, that little carousel of 18s, 20, well, it was reserves then, 18s, reserves, first team. It was like a little carousel, and you were hoping to go into there, then you were hoping to go into there. Yeah. And I got plenty of opportunities up until when I was 18, you know what I mean? And I made my debut at 19 anyway, but up until I was 18, I was always in and around the first team.
Yeah.
But training with Jimmy at the reserves, yeah.
Jimmy, have you on the bench at Man City? Because I was looking, doing a bit of research, how you do, just trying to think back to your first game. And a few places have got you down as making your debut at Man City. But when I done a bit of digging, it said you were sub.
Yeah, so Jimmy gets the manager's job.
He got the manager's job, yeah.
Right.
On a temporary basis for anyone who doesn't know.
Jimmy, I was probably Jimmy's one who was pushing all the time. Right. Okay. And we played Sheffield at Bramall Lane, and he pulled me, Jimmy, and he said, "Look, I was going to play you today." He said, "But the weather, bear in mind, I'm probably 10 stone, right?
Wet through.
So my game was all about the ball.
Yeah.
Technical. That was all my game was, really. Running with it, passing the ball. I could tackle, but it was always a toe in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, I was thinking of playing you today because I want to play you." He said, "But that pitch at Bramall Lane," he said, "I can't play you in the pitch." He said, "Because it's heavy." He said, "And these are after us today." He said, "So I'm not going to play you, but you will play soon." And that was at Sheffield, right? I did travel with them to Man City, but this was a Sheffield game, and I didn't play. But that's how close it can be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
conditions.
It's an opportunities for all kids, and career pathways for all kids can be a toss of a coin. I mean, it's that in football. It's that like cutthroat. You know what I mean? I remember Mike Walker being the manager, right? And I was playing for reserves, and I was playing really well. I remember Mike Walker pulling me, and he was running into the indoor gym because that Belfield is really small, you see. So someone was always in the indoor gym. It was like the meeting place. You play your head tennis in there, you see. And when I went there under Howard Kendall, everyone played head tennis, and I loved head tennis. Big Nev was outstanding at head tennis. But Jimmy Gabriel and Colin Harvey, head tennis every day. Howard would play head tennis. I loved head tennis. I'd always get pulled in because I was good at it. I had a good touch. Yeah. Right. But Mike Walker, I must have been walking out as he's walking in, and we sort of crossed paths, and he stopped me. Even Tony, "You're doing great." And I'm looking at him, and he went, "In fact, get your agent to phone me because I'm giving you a new contract tomorrow." So I was made up, right? So thought, right, getting a new contract. So I couldn't wait to get home. Tell me mum, spoke to my agent, said, "Listen, the manager's pulled me today and getting a new contract." He said, "Okay, I'll get in touch with him tomorrow." Anyway, I gets up, goes into work, gets the bus, goes in, loads of press outside, being sacked. So he got sacked. So my contract's still in the drawer, isn't it?
That's still waiting.
Oh my God, my contract's still in the drawer. He told me yesterday, got to swallow that, haven't I?
That's how close things are, though, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Everything's a flip of a coin, especially in football. It's like putting that kid on. He gets on. You don't really know what's going to happen in that game. He might make a pass that he's never made before, and it might be an unbelievable pass that goes in for a goal. He's elevated up.
Yeah.
His career changes.
Yeah.
Don't put him on. Sit him there. The week after someone's fit, he's back in the 21s. Everything's a flip of a coin. Opportunities are key. You know what I mean? And that's for everyone in life, by the way. That's not just for footballers. But, you know, a football career is a short career. So a flip of a coin on lots of times, yeah, on different things.
Mad. Joe Royle comes in at that time. So you did make your debut at Newcastle.
So when Joe came in, obviously this contract's still in the drawer, isn't it?
You get him to check the drawer?
Well, I said to my agents, I said, look, the new manager's come in. He said, I've already spoke to him and I've told him that Mike had offered you a deal and it's in a drawer, and Joe's acknowledged it, but he hasn't seen you yet. So he just wants to see you before he lets it go on. He said, so it's still there, don't worry. So he put me at ease. Right. So yeah, Joe came in with a great coach called Willie Donaghy. Willie was ahead of his time. Probably 20 years ahead of his time, actually, because some of the things he's done now, coaches have been doing the last 10 years here.
Yeah.
But he was doing it years ago, where it was like frowned upon, like meditating and stuff like that, and individualised coaching. So anyway, and Joe was brilliant. You know, Joe came in as I think he probably was a young man there, but he always looked old, Joe. He always had an experienced look about him, hasn't he? Joe came in and he inherited a team who was struggling. Yeah. And to be fair to him, he knew how to get the results. You know, because we had the personnel there to become the new term, Dogs of War. Yeah. Okay, so you go back, I grew up watching Everton, said to you before, School of Science, yeah. Well, now I'm playing with the Dogs of War, okay. But I am a School of Science, that's me. Yeah. But needs must. And anyway, training became hard work, let me tell you, because the Dogs of War 3, Joe, Ebbo and Barry, I was normally against them 3 every day. So one, it sharpened me up, because if it took too long, I was getting put up in the air. So that's just how they train. You try and train the way you play anyway. But no, so Joe created that to get out of a situation which he comfortably did, and then done even more by winning the trophy for us.
So you come on in that Newcastle game. I remember we went down to 9 men,
that's right,
and got beat late on it. And then your first game you started was a 3-2 win at QPR. And the Inchcliffe in the 90th minute. I still don't know how that free kick went in, because when you watch it still dies when it hits the net. It's such a strange one. But that win at that time was massive. It was huge. Got the kit over there, actually, that we
It's like, I remember coming at St James's Park.
I mean, that's a tough place to come and make your debut.
And we've got 9 men.
Yeah.
And Joe just says, just go and do as good as you can.
Yeah.
Try and keep hold of the ball. We've got 9 men, so you know we're all football men. We're not stupid, right? So to be fair, it goes on and does okay, actually, as much as we can, but we ended up losing. But you remember, you got a young boy here who's 10 stone, who's more of a technician or a footballer than a tackler.
Yeah.
But we'll do all the work. But now we're in a proper relegation fight now. Mm. But I also know how big the club is. So, you know, the pressure, because back in them days, no one ever spoke about pressure or that side of stuff.
There's no social media.
There's none of that. So the pressure is humongous.
Yeah.
You know, we used to travel in on an away game on a bus, and I can still see there was a guy, you might know him, he must be famous. He used to hang off every lamppost to greet the club, the coach in, and there'd be thousands, hundreds and thousands of fans waiting for us wherever we turned up. But there was this guy, he'd be higher than anyone, and he would be screaming like, "Come on!" I mean, his veins in his head were popping out, and that's what it meant to them, right?
Yeah.
So
And did you get a bit of that though as an Evertonian playing?
Because all my mates, a lot of my mates were Blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were getting that
So,
from them as well.
No, I had that anyway because it's the situation. I know the club.
Yeah.
And I know the fans. I just know what it's like. And it's like, we're playing QPR. And I know the first half we played with Brett Angel up front and me off him. Because me off him gives us another midfielder in midfield, so it's a little bit almost like what Takori's doing a little bit now. Another midfielder in midfield, just so you've got more bodies in there, because we can't lose the game.
Yeah,
we've got to try and win the game.
Yeah,
and try and get flick-ons off Brett. I didn't have a clue where Brett was heading the ball to. Do you know what I mean? So whenever
I don't think Brett did after time.
That's what I'm saying. So to be honest with you, we got into half time. It wasn't working, so I ended up going on the wing. So they put me right wing.
Back to that place, eh?
Yeah, so I went on the right in midfield. Because one thing, I'd work hard, you know what I mean? So I would try and work hard. So, anyway, we ended up winning, didn't we? We ended up winning that game, and it was a massive win for us, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a huge, absolutely huge win. And
that was the problem with growing up for me as well, is nearly every team I played in was a relegation fight. And at the time, Robbie coming to at Liverpool, every game he's playing in, it's trying to win things. And every game I'm going in, we're trying to fight. The dynamics are so different.
Yeah.
It's like some of the kids who are playing for Liverpool now. You stick them in an Everton team, the same player, and you'll see a totally different player.
Yeah.
Because the dynamics are so different. The pressure, relaxing, they're so different. But you stick them over there, and teams are scared of them already. All of a sudden, there's more freedom. It's.
I want to come back onto that because we'll come onto that with the coaching bit, but that's the massive point, and I want to get more of that because it is dead. It's key. You forget about that, like the pressures of the two. Obviously, we finished that season winning FA Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that like? I know you weren't involved in the cup final and stuff, but what was it like to be around the club that won a trophy?
I was on the bench in the semis.
Yeah.
With Ammo,
which was unbelievable.
And I actually think the semis overshadows the final because there was only two of us on the bench. It's me and Ammo, and I remember warming up and Joe shouting, and it looked like he was shouting me. And I was like, oh my God, but good job he never won it. Hey? At the end.
Who knows, you might have gone in and done it.
But no, that day, that semi-day, going to Ellen Road, but having why they gave us the three sides is just crazy. But they give us it, because if that was the other way round, it just wouldn't have had the same effect.
Felt like an away game, I suppose.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I was behind
and the team are fantastic. Don't be wrong, the team are fantastic that day. Do you know what I mean? And it was against a decent Tottenham team who were under Klinsmann, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But that day was unique. That day, you know what I mean? And the final. Then the reason I was on the bench is because Duncan was out. Yeah. Duncan was having a hernia, so Duncan came back, and I'm not on the bench now. But we won the trophy. Yeah.
But you were on a pitch the last time we did win what is an English trophy, which of course is the Charity Shield. So
Vinny scored.
A few months later, you get to start at Wembley for your boyhood team in a Charity Shield match. I know. Against the league champions, and we beat them.
Vinny scored a chip shot, didn't he? It
was a cross, let's be honest. He just volleyed at a cross, but
no, it wasn't. It was a shot. If you knew Vinny, he definitely meant it.
Yeah. But what was that like for you, starting at Wembley?
No, I never. Everything I just took on my stride. I never overthought things. It was like
that's an unbelievable thing to have, though, isn't it?
It is, but I've never looked at it that way. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you always been like that? Then even as a kid, do you think?
I never really appreciated it probably as much as I should have done in a way, as in because I thought it came easy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's it, yeah.
But as you look back when you get a bit older, you think didn't really grasp that the way I should have grasped that. I think education's a lot.
I think though, so just sorry to interrupt there, but I think that's probably like that with everything in life though, is that some, you know, when do we truly appreciate every moment? And that, maybe,
as I've got older now.
You start to when you get a bit older.
That's what I'm saying. That I see things so differently now than when I did when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I do think youngsters now are getting educated much rounder in academies than we did. You know, so that was a big day.
Yeah.
That's a big cup final at Wembley. You should have really took all that in, but it just went over my head.
But maybe it was better you didn't at the time.
I don't know. I just think for me, there was lack of education of life skills. Really,
Okay.
that's what I think. Because I should have held them in a bit better. And I think kids now, I think the youngsters now do. I think they do.
Society's just changed, though.
Possibly.
I think, you know, I've said before, I'm a bit older than you, but I was at Everton. The same thing today, Thursday night. That was it. The game every now and again. In holidays, you were in all week.
Yeah.
Because you were off school, and then that was it. I mean, now I watch loads of stuff on academies now, and kids have got their initials on stuff at 9, and I think that's far excessive. I don't think it does them any favours. But they're in 4 days a week, and educated, like you just said, where you're just growing up playing off the cuff and doing it and learning on the job.
I don't mean about playing.
No, I mean but the emotional side or the informational side. I think where society's gone now, everything is and it's for the better, by the way. It's good, but more stuff is discussed, isn't it? Whereas you look back and people would have said, like, you know, man up and get on with it and do this. Was there enough talking about?
Well,
that?
it's just I'm on about like the people around you, like even agents. No one ever would ever. You'd never get to a stage where you're getting educated properly, as in, do you realise what you've just done?
What you've just done,
and what we can build on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Personal
rather than just doing it, and you've played and you've come out and you're back out with your mates. No, let's sit down for do you know, you just for instance, you got, you know, a kid's just scored for Liverpool, haven't he? A young kid. Just scored in front of the cop.
Yeah.
Do you know how big that is? His dad's just played 600 league games. You know what I mean? His dad's played a lot of football. This kid's just 18, just scored
2 goals at the
cop. You know how big that is? Build on that now. Build on that, because if you can do that, imagine what else you can do. And it's that education and that conversation,
information,
where you can grow from that. Whereas,
do you do that as a coach now?
Yeah, and I think there is more education, because there's probably more coaches like me anyway.
Yeah. Well, you look back as well and be able to say, well, that didn't happen
correct,
to me.
Yeah. And that's a big part of it,
You know, and that is the thing. So obviously we win that at Wembley, and then you are in Joe Royle's thinking then, obviously, for the next season. You know, you make 20 appearances the following season, get 2 goals. Your first goal at Middlesbrough, away in a 2-0 win.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Against some big players from Borough at the time. Borough were spending the money, weren't they? Big Emerson in midfield he had, and Janino playing, I think they had.
Great moment to score.
Yeah, you know, listen, Joe done a job, as in the Dogs of War, but Joe wants to play more football because he knew he was at Everton. Do you know what I mean? Which is why he ends up going by Andre and all that, right? But he wants to play good football, Joe. So he always used to say to me, go and make us play football. He never put no pressure on you that way. He just said, go and make us play football. That was nearly always my remit.
Was it?
Get us passing the ball. You look back and you go, what did he say? Well, most of the time, don't get me wrong, when you weren't at it, you got it.
Did you?
You got it. Like I've had a few roastings for not tracking your runner, because when you're growing up, you learn all the basic skills off your players anyway.
Yeah.
Like, if midfielders running past you, the centre half shouting at you, you stay with your man.
Yeah.
In a more aggressive tone. Yeah.
Not quite that word.
Not that word. Yeah. But with the ball, most of the time, Joe was like, just get on it. Go and make us play. Just make us play. That's it. And that's as basic as it was. Right. So basically, my job was to scream off a player to make sure he give me the ball. Because if they missed me out, I was miles out of position now. So I had to get on the ball. So Joe wanted to change the team's way.
Yeah.
And then it will always come down to, won't it, recruitment. Have we got? I remember coming back off a game once, and what was our chairman before Bill Court? What was his name? Peter Johnson sat next to me on the chair. Come and sat down to me. There wasn't many on the coach. I think it was towards the end of it. Must be one of the last games of the season. And the coach was half empty. Someone stayed down or whatever.
Yeah.
And he come and sat next to me. And I remember him. He only really said one sentence. He said, "Tony, what do you think we need?" And I was only a young boy. It's very unusual for a chairman to ask a young boy that.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just bored. I don't know. But the way I played, I needed pace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I haven't got pace, I need to pass the ball to players who can actually go and beat players.
Yeah, take the ball.
Yeah. So I needed a release from me. So I said to him, I need pace. And I think after we bought Andre. Do you know what I mean? And that's, for me, that that enabled me to enjoy my football more.
Yeah. I mean, you did have a good relationship with Kanchelskis on the pitch. I mean,
it was weird. It was even in training. It was a strange one.
What was he like in training?
He was exactly what you seen on the pitch.
Yeah,
110%, up and down, make all different types of runs, scores all different types of goals, left foot, right foot. Finish training, go in the gym, do about 300 crunches every day. Get up, go, see you next day. That was it.
Yeah. He was unbelievable, Kanchelskis, to watch. Like you say, the power.
He was on a different level. He was a different
yeah.
level, you see. So when I was there from early 90s, no one had come through that door with what he had and done what he could do.
Yeah.
No one. Now, later on, we had some good players, such as like a Pienaar and that later on when I was watching. Still saying no one's come close to what Andre actually had, because in the modern game, he was just pure pace and power.
He was incredible.
But his timing was amazing. Impeccable. His decision making was impeccable. And he was probably playing in an average, really average team as well, you know. But that's what Peter had asked me. Joe wanted to change the way from Dogs of War, which I suppose he did, and then obviously it backfired a little bit. Should he have given more time? Possibly, yeah.
It was weird, wasn't it? Because obviously the season Kanchelskis come in, we finished sixth, and we were in Europe for about 6 minutes till I think Ian Wright scored late on for Arsenal, and we beat Villa at home. Joe Parky scored, and then the next season we started brilliantly. And I remember we bought Nick Barmby at Christmas, in early or late November, and we went to Derby County and won 1-0. It was on live. Yeah. And he was saying Everton are the dark horses for the title. I think we were fourth in like early December, and we'd had a blip. We got beat at one of the big games that season. That done my head, and we lost 3-1 at home to Sunderland in mid-November. We were on a great run.
Well, that was the game. That was the game, I think, I got earmarked, because we just played Liverpool, hadn't we? And we got a draw with Speedo scoring and we were brilliant. Yeah. And I was playing really well. And that game, Sunderland, I broke my ankle that day.
Yeah, you went off in.
So, I think it was...
And you were doing really well, weren't you, at that time?
Yeah, everything was going through me. We were playing good football, everything was going through me. And I remember the game, I remember it being 0-0 and trying to sharpen the passes up and just trying to get into the players, because we started a bit slow. Yeah. And I was just trying to smash. I remember trying to smash a ball into Graham Stewart's foot, and I think it just went past and went out. And he's looking at me and going, "Come on, we've got to up this tempo." Yeah. Because it was 0-0, we had to up the tempo. And I thought was just starting to get into it. And then as the ball's coming to me, I was stretching for it, and I dangled my foot out to control it. And as I dangled my foot out, I had a Bally or Bracewell. Yeah. Everyone says it's Bracewell. I always thought it was Kevin Ball, because I've never looked back on it. Right. Bally ends up being a teammate of mine later on, a hard man. But one of them have hit me right across the ankle, basically broke my ankle, and that was me out the game then. Yeah. So I'd gone then. That was the Sunderland game, and you're right. It was a pivotal game, because we were playing really well. Yeah. And you know, if I'd have just left that ball, I wouldn't have broke my ankle. We might have won the game, and we just carry on. And we saw about the flip of a coin before. That's it. It's like it is. It's a lot of luck goes into football. It really does. But we ended up losing then, didn't we?
Michael
and then
Bridges, I think, scored 2.
And then I ended up having a lot of injuries then.
Was that like the start
of like, I broke my ankle. So when I come back off that, something else happened to the same ankle in rehab, so I had to go back in. And then I come back, and then I do my knee in twice. So a lot of injuries come from that day.
It's mad, isn't it? Because again, like you say, if that ball goes out and you don't, who knows, you might never have got injured. We might have beat. I think we missed a pen. I think that Lionel Perez, was it, their goalie, saved the pen in that. It's all coming back to haunt me. And obviously at Christmas we lost Joe Parkinson as well. He got injured at Middlesbrough. We got beat 4-2 over Christmas by them. And then we just started losing games, and Joe, the pressure was mounting. But it was still, remember him going in to sign bloody Klaus Echterberg and Tor Andre Flo and coming out half an hour later not the Everton manager anymore. And it's weird because talking to Myers about it when he was on, and he was saying the press were there that day because Everton were announcing the Umbro Cup for the summer. So they had all the local people there, and the next minute, like Joe Royal's supposed to be doing this press conference, ends up going, he's gone. Was it a surprise for the players that it seemed to happen? I mean, you were in there, so you might have had a little bit of insight, but from a fan's perspective, that just came out the blue. Because we were struggling. But and I know Joe, I think him and Phil McNulty had a bit of box. Phil McNulty was the Everton reporter at the time, the Echo, and he banned him from training ground. All of that was going on, so the pressure was clearly mounting. But from a player perspective, was it a shock, or did you...
I think it was just through, at the time, you're saying the Echo being a bit negative. And, I think we knew it was coming.
Right, okay.
And I think, was it the Bradford game that broke it?
It's before, I think it was before that. So, I mean, obviously Joe left, and it was a surprise to the fans, but, you know, we were trying to get Tor Andre Flo and that. And what was that like for you? Was it a bit of a shock, or did you just, you know, as a footballer, you're probably looking and thinking it can happen at any time? Flip of a coin.
What I would say is, you know, it does happen. You're right, what you're saying. It does happen, a flip of a coin with these decisions. But Joe had created a good community there, and a good hub with the players. Everyone liked Joe. Everyone liked Willie. And you know, you don't like to see them go. You know, they meant a lot. He looked after me a lot, and I didn't want them to go. And in the end, you know, I suppose results will always determine what's going to go on, don't they? But at the time, you know, most of the players wouldn't have been that because everyone liked Joe.
Yeah, I think as fans, because it was out there, we were trying to get Tor Andre Flo, and obviously he probably would have made a difference. He went to Chelsea and done all right, didn't he? So there was I think he'd been, or the story goes, he'd been promised them, and then Peter Johnson, for whatever reason, maybe he didn't have the money at that or whatever, but that's what happened. Dave Watson come in and steered the ship to safety at the end of that season. We had 6 games to go, and we had the famous beating Spurs with Gary Speed's header and Paul Rideout playing centre midfield before leaving on the back of a motorbike, which you know, thought to Paul Rideout in the past, and he said he'd gone to China and flew back in for that game and then got back off again after it, and it was a mad end to the season, wasn't it?
Paul Rideout's good player, Paul Rideout, you know. It's
I never had them down to centre midfielder though.
You know what? But you know what? You say that, but technically very, very good. Good footballer.
Yeah.
Newcastle have one now, don't they? And Joe Linton. They brought him as a forward, and he plays in midfield now. Maybe we should have been open to the idea more that he could have been more of a midfielder than a forward, because technically very, very good, and he was big.
Big lads, yeah.
You know, he's 6 foot.
Well,
2-3.
You'd have known anyway from playing.
Yeah, no, he was good.
He was,
don't you're always surprised, aren't you, when someone changes position and does really well. But no, I remember Paul going to China as well. Another good player, Paul. Another good player, and Waggy would have had all the dressing room behind him anyway, because, in my opinion, Waggy should still be involved with the club, because he was such a good professional, and a good fella to be. He should be involved with Everton now, still, for me.
Yeah, we obviously got to the summer, and there was a lot of talk at the time at all these managers coming in, Bobby Robson and all of this, foreign managers, Wim van Hanegem, remember him, Dutch fella was mentioned, and Andy Gray. It was that summer, it looked like he was going to get the job, but it ended up with Howard coming back in, and obviously bringing my boy who died later, and he came in with him, and Viv Busby and people like that. And the next season for you, 97, 98, was the injuries at 96. 97, 98, they had the injuries again, 9 appearances and 1 goal that season. And maybe had you been fitter more, we might have been playing a bit more football, because we did struggle that season. We struggled even for players, you know. He was Graham Stewart went out, Mitch Ward and Carl Tyler coming, and Howard was just trying to get bodies in. It wasn't a great season at all, was it? No,
it wasn't. And you know, the recruitment, you look, the recruitment was nowhere near the level of the club. Me on a personal level, that's when lots of injuries and education really were against me
Right.
that season.
Do you mean like rehab as well and stuff
yeah,
like
just
that?
yourself as a person, you know what I mean, and how you dealt with things. And, it was almost a write-off season.
Right.
I loved to get. I was made up how I came back.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? You know, the people he brought with him, Viv Busby and she were good fellas. They were all good fellas, and we just never recruited properly, did we? And the football wasn't good that year, was it? It was.
We had moments, didn't we? Like we won the derby and things.
Yeah.
3 days after getting battered at Coventry in the cup, and
I know.
Howard selling Craig's shorts off, and there was loads of those moments, wasn't there? But we did have like Duncan was injured a lot. You were injured.
Yeah.
We did, you know, Danny. We had players like Michael Ball and Danny Cadamazzi come through at that time. And Michael Ball particularly done really well from it. But it was a struggle, wasn't it? But then obviously how we stay up the Coventry City game, which was, what was that like for the being involved
I was injured
in
again,
that?
but obviously
the pressure
at the game. I mean, it doesn't get spoken enough about the Coventry game when you think how that was actually more dangerous than the other games.
Well, I mean, you were there for Wimbledon, and obviously that was
on the Wimbledon game.
Day.
I was at Everton, but on that day we played. Me and Joe Parkey both played for the reserves on the same day against Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, and that day Sheffield United got relegated, and we stayed up.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't write
crazy,
that. So at the end of the game, going back, we ended a tunnel at Bramall Lane, and we had the radio on. And there's all Everton, and there's all Sheffield. Chris Kamara was playing for Sheffield this day.
Right.
And either us or them are going down. Jimmy Gable was our manager. And in the end, obviously, Sheffield lost, I think it was a late goal, didn't they, at Chelsea. So, and we stayed up, and it was like, wow. I mean, how ironic is that?
Yeah, that's mad that you're playing each other, and either side could go down.
But the Newcastle, the Coventry game, obviously, you can still feel the anxiety in the stadium, can't you? I mean, I don't know if that stadium's had more anxiety in it or more laughter and joy in it.
I think probably anxiety.
I know. And then Gareth, Gareth's a mate of mine. Gareth's been having these shots.
Gareth's been on this.
He's been having these shots all season, and they've been hitting the barn door, haven't he? Yeah. So, going over the barn door, and he somehow pulls something out the bag. Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Just amazing, isn't it?
And then Nick Barmby misses a penalty, which would have put it to bed, and then Dion Dublin pops up with the late goal, and it's typical Everton, isn't it? And then Howard leaves, which I think everyone was expecting anyway. And Walter Smith comes in, and then you played 22 games that year under Walter. I mean, what was him and Archie Knox like?
Walter was brilliant, and Archie was brilliant, and the professional level just jumped up overnight. Overnight. Walter used to come out, always smart, Walter. Yeah. So we put his training kit on. He always looked like a strong man. And knew what he wanted. Yeah. And Archie was his coach who ran the show. Yeah, and he ran the show.
Did he ever have you up against the wall, Tom?
No, he had Oliver de Court up against the wall once, which wasn't good. To be fair, I think he apologised in the end. But they were both good fellas. You know what I mean? They were both good fellas. They knew what they wanted.
Been successful as well, hadn't he?
Yeah. And it just didn't. Nothing ever happened, did it?
No.
It just didn't happen again. And I keep saying recruitment, don't I? Keep coming back to it. Well, you can't involve me in that because I was actually homegrown. Yeah. But we just haven't. Apart from bringing your Andres in, I mean, to be fair to Walter, he did bring in Marco Materazzi, who had the potential to be top of the range.
Yeah. The core was brilliant,
and
though, and John Collins coming.
John was an experienced player.
He wasn't at the other two levels.
Core could have been outstanding, but we never kept hold of him. No. And Marco was very homesick, Marco. So I spent a lot of time with Marco.
Did you? Yeah.
And he was he was only young, and he was living in town, and
World Cup winner, Marco.
Well, he was massive.
Yeah, he was
huge. And it's
to sending off though, didn't he, Marco? Like to sit against the boards crying, didn't he?
Because he was so young, and it's just how he was. How do you nurture him? Well, it takes time. Yeah. It takes understanding. It takes a few sendings off.
Stability as well.
It takes all that, and we just never ever have that. No.
And then obviously money determined that we had to sell a pair of them at the end of the season, didn't we?
Yeah.
the next year, like you said, you're 22 games then, and then the next year you leave.
Yeah.
You know, you leave.
Well, we sort of fell out, me and Walter.
Right, okay.
Football reasons. And I had 18 months left on my deal
Right.
at Everton, so I didn't have to go.
Mm.
But I got bored of not playing.
Yeah.
I was doing my head in now. So every Saturday comes and going to the Goodison to watch the lads play. And I'm not involved now. And I'm fit now as well. I'm not even nowhere near it. We just because we had a falling out in training. And I got the option to go and play for Joe.
Yeah.
And I was excited to go and play with Joe and Willie again.
At Man City.
Yeah. But in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have went because he had 18 months of my deal left.
Right.
Probably should have waited till the summer.
Okay.
So we're now in late December.
Yeah, Christmas Eve.
1999. Yeah. It was. I think it was Boxing. It might have been Christmas Eve. I thought it was Boxing Day, but it might be Christmas Eve.
Well, it's your career. I'm just going what the record books say, but 450 grand.
What I do know, I know that physio who come to give me a medical was rotten drunk, so it was definitely Christmas, right? Because he was having a party.
Party after.
He got say, yeah. So
well, it probably would have been Christmas Eve.
It
then,
might have been Christmas Eve.
He's thinking he's getting off early.
Yeah. It would have been. Yeah, you're right. So part of me, because at first I said I turned it down at first.
Did you?
Yeah.
Right.
So I turned it down because I had reservations, and I was thinking, right, I'll just go back, and I'll go on loan.
Okay. Yeah.
To get back playing.
Yeah.
And I'll just stay until the summer and see where I am then. But City's such a big club, and Joe's a good fella, and Willie on the phone to me selling it to go. In the end, I just said okay. As I say, I didn't overthink it because I've said to you before, you know, the education side of me and the advice just was never ever given as the way I would give it now. Do you get me?
Yeah.
It was there was never a two or three sides of a story or a debate. It was always, yeah, I'll just do that. I'll do it then. Yeah, let's go. There was no thought.
Yeah.
Everything was off a whim.
Right. Okay.
And then I joined City, and City was just like Everton. It was exactly like going to Everton. Massive big stadium, humongous stadium. Now they were in the Championship, but they were top of the league.
Right.
And they had good players, so I couldn't get in the team because Joe weren't changing the team, so he just signed me. He signed me to probably looking back because I'm a coach now. He's bolstered the squad.
Yeah.
Because he knew me anyway. So he's probably thought, well, you know, once one of these get injured, I'll throw Tony in it.
Yeah.
But now I've got to wait for that. And I've just left Everton. So now my head's in a little bit of a place where I try and educate kids not to be in that place. But no one's educating me then. So now I'm driving up to Manchester to be in the same position that I was driving to Belfield for. So there was a lot of outside stuff, and really I just needed to get my head down and forget about it and just work. And you know, I went to City, we got promoted.
Yeah. I
actually played more the year they went up to the Premier League than I did in the Championship.
Nice. Yeah.
And then he brought Andre into Man City.
Yeah.
I think I went on loan to West Brom.
Yeah.
Under Joe.
Yeah.
And I loved it at West Brom.
Did you?
I loved it, yeah. Gary Megson was at West Brom. We were playing good footy. It was full house. I loved it at West Brom, and I wanted to stay. Gary Megson wanted me to stay and offered a deal for me. So I'm expecting to stay. And then goes in, Gary goes to me, you're going to have to go back. They've called you back. I'm like, you joke, I want to stay here. And I'd have called you back. So it was all over the papers that Andre signed. And I'm coming back, and we're going to start this relationship again that we had at Everton to try and keep us up in the Prem. So it goes back, and to be fair, I remember we played Newcastle away, and we beat them 1-0. We had a great game. And it was like, well, this is the start of it now. Yeah. But then it just didn't materialise. And we ended up getting relegated into the Championship again, and then Keegan came in.
Oh, okay.
So I played with Keegan then for a number of months, and then I signed for Burnley then.
Yeah. We ended up 31 appearances for Man City, but I mean, it's a massively different club now, isn't it? To what it was. Yeah, still a big club and a brilliantly supported club.
Man City's a very big club.
Yeah.
You know, you think about it. They had a lot of in the 90s. They had a lot of turmoil at that club.
Yeah.
Relegation.
Yeah.
Them fans still went. Right. The main road was as good as it is. It was awful. Because it was just a big tin thing, right? It's like Goodison in a way, but bigger. The main road is bigger than Goodison. Yeah. It's massive. getting its fans. It's getting its 30,000 in there. They're coming. You know, I liken their fans to the Everton fans because I've seen both of them, and you know, they are very, very similar in a way. And it is a different club now, and probably they deserve it in the same way we probably deserve someone to come in and go bang, go and create this team that all the fans love. And they've got it now. They're probably getting a bit bored of winning all the stuff now, aren't they? And probably they might want a couple of years of that turmoil again, and then bounce back. But who knows?
So you move off to Burnley for $250,000. You'd actually played most of your career games for Burnley, which was a bit of a surprise to me when I think with Everton, 141 games for Burnley. 3 goals. Didn't play much on the right wing then.
No, I was I was playing with a. To be honest with you, when I broke my ankle at Everton, it wasn't a break. I smashed my cartilage in the joint at Everton.
Nice.
And what happens then is, what happened with Joe Parkey?
Yeah.
He lost his cartilage in his knee.
Nice.
So it become bone on bone, Joe. So we tried with Joe. We tried to create cartilage in Germany and put it in his knee, and that's why it failed.
Nice.
That's why he had to retire, really.
Yeah.
Now, mine was similar, but it was in the ankle. But all my cartilage didn't come out. It was part of it.
Okay.
Which means you're knackered, and it's not going to have the same mobility, right?
Yeah.
And what happened at Everton with me is the cartilage that was floating, when it was floating around my ankle, I could walk. But then when it got stuck in between a joint, I'd fall on the floor, right?
Really,
yeah. So, going back to the injury, when I got injured against Southampton, Sunderland, I hobbled home that night, sore.
Yeah.
But I could hobble, I could walk, right? When I woke up in the morning, I collapsed on the floor, and I don't know why, right? So I couldn't drive my car, so I had to get a taxi into Belfield. So when I get to Belfield, I jumped out on one leg and I just said to someone, because opened the front door, someone was always there, go get us some crutches. Go and got crutches, went to see Les, the physio. And he said to me, what's happened to you? I said, I don't know. I said, it's from the game. I said, but I can't. He said, try and walk us. So in the Belfield, in the treatment room, I collapsed on the floor. He said, I don't know what's up. So we looked at my ankle even, because it was an impact. He thought it was just I'd come off because it was a knock. We didn't, right? So he's messing around my ankle, and when he touches a certain joint, it's sore, but it's going to be sore even if it's just bruising, right? Yeah. So he knows that. But then he said to me, walk, and about 20 minutes later, I go for a walk, and I walk. It's like, I'm honest to God, it's like I've been reborn, right? I'm walking now. And then the next day, I'm walking. And the next day I say to Les, I feel I can train. Right? So I train. The next day I can't walk. Right? I'm on crutches again. Like, this goes on, right? God. This is going on. We can't put our finger on what's going on here, because we don't know what's happened yet.
Yeah.
So I was going on the bench for Everton, right? Knowing that in any minute I could be on the pitch and just collapse on the floor, right? Because no one knew that was floating. But there was a piece in my ankle that was floating. And if it got stuck in a joint, you collapse.
You were gone.
Yeah, right? So I'm walking, so I'm not involved today. I've been in the physio room this morning, and I've done a little bit of rehab to get fit.
Yeah.
And I've parked my car behind the park end, walked through with someone, summer's day, or a warm day. And as I'm walking, I've collapsed on the floor, and the lad next to me is laughing, what's happened to you? And I just sat down on the board and said, that's only some crutches. So this has been going on now for weeks now. So in the end, that's when we had to go and have an operation to see what's actually going in. And that's when we realised you've got half your cartilage floating and it's just killing. So we took that out. But what happened then is, again, I keep saying education, but again, what happened then is I have my operation, I get blood clots in it, comes back, another operation, comes back. Once I do my rehab, I'm fit. There was no me as a coach now, lots of lads who I've worked with now, when they've had these types of injuries or something similar, they'll be in early and the physio will be working with that joint.
Yeah.
Loosening that joint up. Well, I was fit. I'm training. I'm playing. There's no talk. Don't know I'm going to do anything. They might think you should know that, but I didn't know all this. I'm fit, aren't I? So I'm training. So that ankle now is starting to get rusty. Right, so inside it, so I struggle with it a little bit now.
Right. Okay.
Because it's had years of rustiness, right, basically, right? But then when I goes to Burnley, I'm actually playing football. I retired early, mate. I retired at 32.
Right, yeah.
And the reason I retired, because for the 4 or 5 years before that, so it's Burnley era,
Yeah.
every time I played, it took me 2 days of holding walls to, like, walk, because my ankle was, like, so inflamed and so sore. And I was just eating like no anti-inflammatory tablets,
Yeah.
just to take away, cool it. And then by Tuesday, you were all right. You just train and you get through it. You just getting what I was doing. I was just getting through things,
Just maintenance.
just getting through it, just getting through it. So my whole dynamics changed from that tackle from Sunderland.
Sunderland game.
That's when everything changed there, yeah. And because we had no idea of how to manage this like they do now. As you think about back in the day, we only really had 1 or 2 physios at Belfield, and that was for the U team, reserves, and first team.
Yeah. Look at the medical teams now.
Look at the medical teams now.
10, 12.
Yeah, so in the end, I was playing at Burnley.
And you would have probably had a scan immediately now if you've got on.
Well, what we did that, we had an X-ray at first, right? Because there was nothing bad to see. The X-ray showed nothing up, which is why. And then I could walk. So it was like, well, there's nothing wrong with you. And there wasn't. But there was.
But there was, yeah.
It was hidden. And then it came out and it just knocked you out.
Didn't this happen with Bracewell at Everton? When I talked to Paul Bracewell about it, he had a bit of bone off, but floating.
I think it was bone,
it didn't show up.
That's right. I think it was bone.
And he kept cutting him, and I was like, he lost like they changed him as a player.
It changes, yeah.
That was at Newcastle. So
when I went to Burnley,
these clubs,
I sort of sat in front of the back four.
Right, okay.
And I just become a player who could link play up.
Right.
And, Burnley's another great club. My three of the main clubs I've played for have all been brilliant.
Yeah.
Local clubs in Man City and Everton and in Burnley. And I signed for Burnley in the midst of their ITV digital money.
Right.
So, do you remember ITV Digital?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So they put a lot of money into it.
Yeah.
So Burnley were having a go. They wanted to get the Premier League, Burnley.
Right.
So I signed for them.
Stan Ternant, the manager.
I signed for them. They just paid £1 million for Robbie Blake. So they were putting the money about. Stan seen me as someone who I think they were 6th or 7th, and he wanted to be in that top 6. But I think they started the season up here, high up. And then they just started falling away. And I think he wants to stay up there. So he was telling them, we've got to have to pay money.
Yeah.
So I goes in and I became the player who sat in front of the back four and tried to feed. We had a couple of good players like Glenn Little and Robbie Blake. Try and feed them and try. What happened then is the ITV digital money went skywith, and in the end they had to pull the purse strings back and they couldn't buy no more players.
Nice.
And it become a bit of a slog there. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
But nothing came easy. Nothing came easy there. But you had many years understanding, and then Steve Cottrell came in, and that was it.
Yeah. Moving from there, then it was Crewe, was it?
I went to Crewe, yeah.
Yeah, Crewe, 14 games. But that was when you first do a bit of coaching there as well.
Yeah, so
how did that come about?
So Dario was Dario Gradi was the manager.
Yeah.
And I'd left Burnley.
Yeah.
And me and the manager at the time didn't get on. And he'd offered me a deal and I said no. I had that old militant way about me where I'm not going to go back on it.
Yeah.
Just standing my ground, I'm not doing it. I'm not playing for you. But this game again, you talk about education, you talk about people who are around you who should be educating you on stuff like this. An agent should have been going, no, Tony, you're signing this deal.
Yeah.
You're signing it. Get on with it. Get on with the manager.
Yeah.
Get on with it. In the end, that didn't happen. So I ended up with no club. So now, I've got no club. So now I'm sitting there. Next minute, someone phones me and says, why don't you go and see Daddy? Go in there for a bit. So I went in there and Daddy liked the way I played, and I probably suited the Crewe way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? At the time, they were in the Championship, but they were fighting relegation, which they're bound to be doing. I really enjoyed it. The only problem we had at that club was Dario was more interested in the younger teams because he wasn't a manager who wants to be a manager who wants to be a Premier League manager. He was doing it for the good of the club and the players.
Yeah.
So he was more interested in them kids
Like
becoming better players, developing them. Yeah. And so we have to train on AstroTurf most days, and it just flared my ankle up.
Good for your ankle.
So no, so I left there, and then my last club was Chester.
Yeah.
Which I love Chester. Chester's a great little club.
Yeah.
You know, that was my last club.
You had a bit of coaching at Accrington, and then obviously went off to Chester, 19 games.
Yeah.
You played 1 goal.
Chester was a great club.
Yeah. Were you doing any coaching there or not?
Not really, no. You know, it was only... my coaching really started when I left Chester. I think I would have been 32. So most players are playing now to 38, 39, 40, whatever they're playing to. You know, but my dad passed away, you see, when he was really young.
Nice.
And I'd lost that love of playing football.
Had you?
Because his dad's not going no more.
Yeah.
So he's not going no more. It was like, I've got no one to impress.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, why am playing football now? So I've lost the love of it. And because your dad's not there to spur you on.
When was this then? My
dad passed away.
What club were you at when your dad passed away?
Crewe.
You're at Crewe.
Yeah, because he come to a couple of games at Crewe, and then.
So he's still been going to all your games?
Yeah. So at Burnley, I used to pick him up and take him and all that, and then he passed away when he was 60.
That's young, isn't it?
Yeah. So I just lost the love of it.
Yeah.
One good thing that happened at Chester, which was brilliant, I thought. I was playing a game one day. It was a warming up, and in the corner of my eye, I seen Colin Harvey and Terry Darricott. Because I've got good relationships with these guys, and I've got loads of respect for them anyway. So I ran over to them. I said, "What are you doing here, Chester?" And they said to me, "We've come to watch you."
That's brilliant, isn't it?
Brilliant, isn't it? I said, he said, "Our game got called off. We thought, where should we go? And we seen that you were playing here, so we've come to watch you." I thought, it's brilliant, that, isn't it?
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's good. That's relationships, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't keep on that going. So obviously you do your coaching. Was that ever in your mind? Because obviously you're saying you're falling out of love with playing, or maybe that it's obviously losing a parent. It's like the worst thing that people will probably ever go through in their life, isn't it? And you've had that bond with your dad through playing from when you're a kid, going to Goodison and all of that, and then that bond is it's just not there. So like you just said, you're evaluating it, then going, my ankle's playing, you know, I can't play the way he used to play, I'm injured, my dad's not here to impress, and that bit of love falls away from the game. How's that love ignited for you to want to be a coach then?
Well, when I look back at how I played football, without knowing it, I was a bit of a coach on the pitch.
Okay.
I was always telling people where to go, and I always wanted the ball.
Yeah.
And I'd always be screaming for it. It didn't matter if it was a senior player. I'd always want the ball. And I'd always be in a position to know where we're going to go next. So I was almost a bit of a planner anyway.
Right.
That's how I've always seen myself. Now, when it comes into the coaching, I didn't know at first. But then I seen I could make a difference once I got introduced to it. And I seen how I interacted with the kids.
Yeah.
Because my first gig was under 16 coach at Blackburn.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden I'm going in and I'm really enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? So
well, how did that come about, Blackburn then?
Actually, so my cousin is Connor Grant, who played for Everton. Connor.
Yeah.
So his dad, Brendan.
Nice.
It was through his mate called Terry McPhillips, and Terry was the under 16 coach at Blackburn. And through our Bren, he just created, he set it up to say, why don't you go in here, see if you like it, you might like it.
Yeah.
So I went in, and Terry was very good because he was an old school manager. I'd been doing it for years, and was happy for me to just grow, and support.
When had you done your badges at this?
I was just starting.
Yeah.
But the interaction I was getting with the kids, I really was enjoying it, and the way I speak to them, it was the advice I'm giving them. It was like they were listening and taking it on board, because, you know, I'm not a shouter, screaming anyway. So this just developed. It just developed. Obviously, then I got me badges. Then I come to 18 coach. Me and Terry goes be an 18 coach, and we done ever so well.
Yeah.
And the kids enjoy being with us. The environment we create is really good for the kids.
Okay.
Even the ones who don't make it, there's no animosity between us. It's purely we've give you everything we've got. We've give you everything we've got, and we're here for you if you need us. And sometimes football's just not for you. Do you know what I mean?
It's difficult. I mean, there's what, less than 1%, is it?
Yeah.
That make it, I mean.
So
is that the hardest bit of the job? Do you think at that age?
I suppose it is. I suppose it is. I think a lot of the kids know, to be honest with you.
Do they?
I think they get to a stage where they know they're not going to be ready for this level. But it's how you can support them going to another level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And Terry, who I work with, was very good at that. And I learned a lot from him on how we can support after this this programme that you've just been on.
Do you think there's enough support in football?
I think it's definitely grown. I mean, you're on your own in our day. You were just on your own. Once you got released by a apprentice, once you were 18, you would either go on a trial somewhere. If that didn't work out, you were finished.
Yeah.
There's way more support now. Definitely, I mean, social media is a massive support for them because you can post things. There's a zillion more agents now. Bloody hell, there's agents everywhere. You look, there's an agent now. But that's where my coaching started with Blackburn.
Yeah.
And we took the under-18s to the U Cup final. We took them to the Premier League final. We won the league with them. We had a great group of lads who got the best. The big one was getting the best out of them, and we got the best out of them. But then what happened was really quickly at Blackburn, they sacked Sam Allardyce and his staff and all the youth coaches, myself and Teddy and a guy called Gary. We all went up to Gary became the manager. He was the 21s manager, and me supported him. So we all went up to the first team really quickly. I mean, I even remember the conversation he had with Gary when I was at St George's Park.
Gary
Bowyer, yeah. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to go with the first team. I was really enjoying with the kids.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him at St George's Park and I said to him, look, I'm not sure I actually want to go with the first team right now. And we just done a good job in the season before because we got the job with the last 20 games or whatever it was. I said, I enjoyed it. I love it. But I might take my time. Don't need to do that right now.
Yeah.
But in the conversation just went on where I had to go with them in a way. You know what I mean? It was like, well, we've got to stick together. So in the end, I did, and I loved it. And then 3 years later, they ended up sacking us. Nice. And that's the reality of coaching.
Yeah.
When you get to first team, and when you're coaching at youth level, you don't have that pressure. You're only there really to support kids. Okay. There's too many youth coaches who are in the youth business for themselves, and it's not about themselves. It's about improving kids, getting the best out of kids, supporting them. But your job's quite safe as long as you're following that guidelines. Yeah. It's when you start thinking out the box that you're doing your job properly. When you go into first team coaching, you are dictated no matter how well you're doing as a coach and how well the players are individually improving. If the results aren't good, you eventually get sacked. Now, we got sacked when the results actually were all right. Again, it was a silly sacking. They put us on an embargo. They embargoed us so we couldn't bring no players in. They took away all the money, so we sold our best players. And it was like, we're pen knives here.
Yeah.
Give us a chance. Give us a chance. But that's owners for you, isn't it? If you spend too much time thinking logically about their decision making, you'll do yourself in. You know what I mean? It is what it is. So we left there then, which then led me back to Everton.
Yeah.
Which is crazy,
yeah. It is weird, isn't it? Because you do think like that. You see under 21 coaches or 18s, and you think, like Leighton Baines is at Everton, an under 18 coach, and it's like I've seen people going, I wonder if he'll become Everton manager. It's like, but do you want that pressure if you're enjoying just working day to day and development of players? Why would you want the pressure to go into a set of conditions that aren't always put there by you? Do you know what I mean? Like you said, you're doing brilliantly at under 18s and developing kids, and you might get a couple through to the first team. It's great, and supporting the rest. The minute you step up to where the perception probably on the outside is everyone wants to be like Tony will want to be a first team coach or a first team manager, where you're quite happy where you are. At
the time, it's time. Everything's time, isn't it? So the work you do with an under 18 coach, I was doing that same work with senior players now, and finding that they really enjoyed that one-on-one and how they can improve. And you know what? They actually all can.
Yeah.
All the Everton players can all improve a tiny little bit. And it might be so much as just reaction time of switching on when you've lost the ball that quick. Like,
Okay.
you look, here's a few instances where you just knocked off. Let's knock off quicker. Let's get back to it quicker.
Yeah. And all of those little details.
Really
matter,
small
don't they?
details, yeah. I remember doing stuff with a big striker, and he was outstanding in the air. Not once did they ever do scoring goals, because he can do that already.
Right.
So I weren't going to tell him something that he can't. I weren't going to coach something that he already does to make me look good. So when he scores an header, I go, that's us. No, he does that already.
Okay.
That's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
You're fantastic at your timing. You're fantastic at scoring headers. Right? All you need is good delivery, and you'll score headers. So that's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
Right? But what you're not good at is, linking the play up, because we can't see you. So when our players got the ball, and we just show videos and go, well, when he's got the ball, how can he see you? He can't see you. So imagine this in a game when there's 20,000 watching. So now you just need to change where you're standing when it's in certain positions, the ball. And if you do that and he can see you, and we can nick that ball into you, then we can link play up. Yeah. And it's something so simple as that. And when that penny drops, it's fantastic when it drops.
Yeah.
Because when the player sees it, and sees that the next week, or the week after, or whenever that penny drops is, and he sees the ball here, and he sees the ball, him changing his position, and it goes into him, and he sets, and it goes wide, and it's crossed, and it's a goal. It's like, it's an amazing moment, you know what I mean? But when you can see it in the video room, that's when you get success.
Yeah.
That's success, and that's when the players start improving.
Yeah.
You get them improving. A lot of it is, the video's a brilliant tool for it.
Yeah.
Honestly, and that's it. I mean, not once did we ever do stuff with Ed in the ball, because he was outstanding at it.
Yeah.
But a lot of coaches would do that.
Yeah.
Because when he scores an header, they'll be like, that's our work. But no, hang on. Before you started doing the work, he was scoring them anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So it's all the bits that...
It's the little bits that, and to be honest with you, players know that.
Yeah.
In fact, they see these half these coaches as con men, just jumping on the back of things.
Nice.
But if you can see the little bits that they don't do, and then you can make them do it. And by the way, I'm not talking about making a slow player, telling them to make him fast. It's impossible. It's things they can do.
Yeah.
It's just the brain working, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that's when it's really good.
And they're like the finer details.
They're the finer details,
and they're the ones that do.
Yeah.
You get the biggest returns from, aren't they? Like
Definitely.
you say. You went to Everton, your recruitment advisor or European scout.
Yeah. So what it was, Steve Walsh created a department.
Yeah.
Now, people have different personas on or ideas of Steve Walsh or these guys.
Yeah.
One thing, he's not soft. Right. He's been in the game all his life.
Yeah.
Right. So what he wants to do, however he dresses it up, or whatever title he gives it, he just gives it a title because that's the world we live in now.
Yeah.
Like, chief scouts now are called directors of football, aren't they? That's really, in a way. So we just dress things up. So what he done with this, he tried to dress up a title.
Yeah.
Anyway, our remit was to find younger players eventually for the first team. It's only what's been going on for years since football started.
Right.
It's only like when Moyes went and bought John Stones.
Yeah.
Right? And John Stones is 18 or 19 and he goes and plays a few reserve games. And eventually he's that good, he gets in the first team. Right? It's only that. It's just that now we're just going to put it under a banner because we're in this modern world and everyone loves a new title and dress things up when right. It's actually, this is all it is.
Yeah.
So teams have been doing it forever. Howard done it with John Oster. He bought John Oster as a young player. Shouldn't have played in the first team at that time, but should have been one for the future. That was the whole idea of it. So it was nothing new.
Yeah.
So our ideas was to find younger players to get them for the first team. And sometimes you'd find a player and they wouldn't get them. So now they bought Dominic.
Yeah.
So that department was responsible for buying Dominic. Right, so Dominic was £1 million.
Yeah.
Success story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Luchman was for this. Success story as in the money they made on him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it works. So if you've got a group of people looking for younger players around the country or even in Europe, and that becomes a money-making thing, then that's fine, right? So that's what it was.
Right. Okay.
So Steve Walsh has been in the game for years.
Yeah.
So that's what he set up. Whatever he called it, I actually don't even know what the department was, because my remit was to try and find younger players, right, originally. And then that led on to Marcel Brands coming in.
Yeah.
And this is, we just talked about before about like, just saying to you about coaching then, didn't I? About, I wouldn't coach a fella who was really good at something to try and take credit of it.
Yeah.
Well, then Marcel Brands comes in, and the first thing, when he's looking at his department, he's got this department here, hasn't he? Which is our department.
Of course, yeah.
And he can't understand why this department buys players for the 21s. Right? So when I tell him that's not the case, that's to buy young players to get in the first team in the future, like it's always done, and use Dominic as an example, it sort of went over his head. And months later, he used it again, the same analogy. I don't understand why we done this, but that wasn't the case. He's reading a title, thinking that's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. And then, as soon as you leave, one of the first signings he makes is Virginia, the goalie. A young player, ready for the first team in the future. It's like, a lot of crazy
new clothes and all that.
It's just what it is. When people go into jobs, they go, how can I make a difference? Well, that's silly. Because if it was that would be silly. If you did create a department purely for the 21s and you're going to release him when he's 23, that would be silly.
Yeah.
But no one in football would ever do that. Everyone's trying to recruit young players to grow, to either get in your team or to make money. That's the job. Whether you put that under a title or whether you put it as a generalisation, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean, it's something we haven't done well enough anyway as a club, regardless, isn't it? For the team, buying, recruit it all. Like you said before, a lot of it is just simply recruitment, isn't it? What you're bringing in, and
I think your whole club, whether it's going to be successful, is built on good people behind the scenes, honest people behind the scenes, and recruitment, right. I think every manager we've sacked, every one of them could have been a successful manager. Every single one. And we've sacked them all. Everyone. If we'd have bought the right players. So, I was at Blackburn. And we've got a game this Saturday. We're playing Leicester at Ewood Park. And they got this winger. We've never heard of him, called Mahrez.
Yeah.
Right? No one's heard of him. But Leicester have. Leicester scouts have. Mahrez was on a different level. Right? If Mahrez played for Everton next week, he'd be Everton's best player by an absolute country mile. Because no one's even close to the level. The level of him, no one's close to it. No one can do what he's done. Yeah. So, my point being, every manager could have been a success if they define players like that.
Yeah. That's the key, isn't it?
That is the key.
Yeah.
That is the key. If you keep finding players who are honest Johns, who keep working, which is good.
Yeah.
But a prerequisite for every club should be working hard. It's not just Everton. Yeah. You go and play for Accrington Stanley. Your first start should be working hard. Yeah. And running back when you haven't got the ball. And running forward to support when you have. So that should be a given. So we should never really talk about hard work because that should be a given anyway. Yeah. But if you're looking for class and quality, Leicester City won the Premier League because they bought a centre midfielder who was on a different level. Yeah. And a winger on a different level. And a striker who was on 3 players. Take them 3 players out, you still had Robert Huth playing. You still had all these players playing who probably 2 years later, most of them actually aren't even playing. So I'm a big believer that we've got the recruitment so wrong for years. Yeah. But you're still only a really good window away with everything you've got from being a successful team. Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Do you think there's not enough? You've just mentioned Mahrez, and obviously you were alluding to N'Golo Kante as well, who come in for buttons, and no one knew he wasn't. He was incredible, and Everton kind of done that a little bit with the Idrissa Gueye. People were looking, going, "Ooh," when they've done a good job for them. Not what Kante did, but do you think there's not enough chances taken with a Riyad Mahrez? Because Everton or other clubs had looked and gone, this fella's playing in France, never really heard of him. Does that just come down to how good his scouting is? Does it come down to a little bit of a gamble? Because we're seeing a lot of people loving Brentford and Brighton at the moment because they've done stuff like that. What's your view on that?
I just think, in the end, someone's got to push the button, haven't he?
Yeah.
So someone's got to go, no, this is what we want.
Yeah.
Right. Now, the difference part playing for Everton is, don't get me wrong, Mahrez would have been a big success here. All them players. You know, I went to watch Jack Grealish before he played in the Premier League. He'd have been idolised here.
Yeah.
Idolised here because the way he had his socks down, the way he plays, the swagger he had.
Yeah.
The fans would have loved him. They'd have got on the ball. Goodison would have stood up. So I went to watch Aston Villa. Every time, this kid didn't do nothing on this day, but every time he got the ball, the whole stadium stood up. I was sitting down to stand up myself. Right? Every time, isn't it? So this is when he's only a champ player.
Yeah.
So now you're going to have to go, no, he's a Prem player. Get him here. And by the way, the fans here would have loved him. And going back, how long has he been at City for now? 3 years? I don't know. So he's talking 3 years ago. Go and get him. 4 years ago. Go and get him. So if we were in a position where you can buy players from the Championship, right?
Yeah.
With a Premier League club, with a big club, go and get them. Understand the dynamics of this stadium. People don't understand the dynamics of the stadium.
No.
You know, we've always had players we love. You know, we go back to even before my day when they had Mackenzie's and all that. The fans love a ball player who can do something. I said Mahrez before. You know, I'd have Mahrez next season.
Even now,
Now, because I know he's head and shoulders above, quality-wise, anything you've got.
Yeah.
Head and shoulders.
Yeah.
And if you're getting the ball on a Saturday, he's going to do something.
Yeah.
And he gets you off your seat. So when you're walking, like when I'm walking to the game years ago with my dad, and I'm going, I wonder what Trevor Stevens going to do today.
Yeah.
He's going to dance past him. He's going to pass him, but you don't do. No, we've got to. This is a show. This, you know, this isn't just like it is the club. It's the city, but this is a show. We all want to go in. You know, they've got to entertain us.
Yeah.
And the recruitment for Everton has been. I don't relate to it.
No.
I just don't relate. I watched Chelsea on Sunday. I don't relate to them. I mean, if I'm a Chelsea fan and going, I don't even like this team.
Yeah.
I just can't relate to it. You know, so you've got to give us something to relate to.
Yeah.
Understand
It's
the
been
dynamics.
missed a bit of that, hasn't it?
I think it's been missed for years.
And not even just at Everton. I think a lot of clubs you look and go. I think you know Manchester United have got it now. Where you're looking and going,
that's not United.
what are these?
Yeah.
Like what are? You know,
can't relate to it, can you?
It's strange.
Yeah.
You left Everton, obviously. Had a go. You went to Blackpool for a bit.
Yeah,
as assistant manager.
I went down there, but I was going to Australia, you see. So when Terry, the manager, got in touch with me, I said, look, listen, I can come back. I can only come for the last 2 or 3 months, whatever it was. At that time, they just got rid of the owner, who had basically wrecked the club a little bit. Great club, love Blackpool. It really is a fantastic club, and it makes a great noise. They've got something on that stadium, whoever's designed it. It's an old stadium, or a new old stadium. Makes a lovely noise inside it. But it's a good club, Blackpool. Really is a good club, and I really enjoyed it. But it was always going to be a short-term thing anyway.
Because you'd already arranged to go to Brisbane Raw.
I'd already arranged to go to Australia with Robbie and just try. You know, I'd been an under-18 coach.
Yeah.
I'd been a 16 coach, an 18 coach. I'd been a 21s coach. I'd been a first team coach. I'd been an assistant manager. And I thought, why not? Why not challenge this? Me and Robbie have known each other since 10, which is quite unique in football. I still say to Robbie now, there won't be anyone in world football, in the whole of the world, who's a manager and number 2, who've been mates since 10. There'll be someone who'd be mates since they've been playing with each other at 20s, but not from 10.
No.
Don't be anyone.
It's rare.
It's ready to be unique, I say.
So 2 Scousers in Australia, at Brisbane Raw. I mean, what was that? I mean, what's that? What's the quality like, and what's that?
It's different, you know, because I'd say, so I've just come from League One, hadn't I, with Blackpool. I've just come from the Championship with Blackburn. And a lot of their games, because we're over here, the fans make the game over here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So when we had the pandemic on, and you've seen the football.
It's terrible.
It was terrible, wasn't it? Because
training games, wasn't it?
It was boring, wasn't it? But they were playing football as they would on a Saturday. It's just that there's no fans, right?
Yeah.
It's so different, right? It's so when you go, so it was almost like, you know, the pandemic games you had.
Yeah.
the football in Australia, because it's so hot, a lot of it's on the floor.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's technical.
Yeah.
Right? It's very hard to get teams who can really hype. There was one team who had a Dutch coach, I forget his name now, but he's a well respected Dutch coach.
Yeah.
He was Adelaide's manager. He went man to man.
Right.
Right? So he got his team fit as, and he went man to man. And if they went 1-0 up, yeah, it was hard to play against. Teams found it hard, but in the end, he kept this up, and we played them twice that season. And the first time we played them, he actually really upset our players. Our players couldn't deal with it, even though we've told them what to expect and all this. They couldn't deal with it. So when you think about it, he'd come from Holland, thought, I'll go here and I'm going to play this because I'll blow these teams away. And what happens in the end is he blew his own players away.
Right.
So second half of the season, they started falling away. They ended up below mid-table in the end, and we ended up 2 points off top, right?
Nice.
So theirs is it's a more of a technical way, purely because the pitches are fantastic.
Yeah.
So the level of pitch is Premier League level.
Right.
Yeah. They all have VAR, so they've got all the top stuff over there, right? So if you're offside, you're offside, right? What they haven't got is the actual pure quality or that change of pace.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a passing game, but you haven't got the player who could drop his shoulder and something clever really happens, a little 1-2s.
Right.
But it opens your eyes to different formations, different ways of playing, and to be fair, different players from different countries. Who you go, yeah, he's good, him, isn't he? He was 39, brilliant. He was a Brazilian kid, he's brilliant. So it opens your eyes up to different things. But you know, we were flying. Robbie had it. We had a meeting at the end of December, and we'd seen almost most of the teams. And Robbie said, "Look, I've seen them all. We've seen them all. So I want to challenge us all. Second half of the season, you got a full half of the season here. I think you can go undefeated with the full half. Right? So I want to challenge us now." So it was a brave decision to say, because obviously you could lose the next game. Couldn't you? Where'd you go? Anyway, as we go on, we win, we draw, and then anyway, he's true to his word. We haven't been beat. So we've got about 8 games in now, and we're unbeaten. Then the 9th game comes, and we actually got beat 1-0 from the referee. Gave a penalty, wouldn't go to his little monitor, just give us it, and it was never a pen. So we actually didn't. We said to the player, we're not counting it because the referees felt that, right? Yeah. So we actually did go undefeated, but then the pandemic happened.
Nice.
As we were there. So COVID had hit, and Australia became one of the first countries who were going to clamp down on everything. Yeah. So all the airports were closing. So I remember we had a game. So it hadn't closed yet. We were playing a team called Newcastle Jets. And it was on a pitch where there was no fans allowed in, but they were going to play it anyway. So we played it and we won 1-0. And we finished the game, and after we were in next to the changing rooms, and speaking to the CEO, and he goes, "Look, they're closing the season's the season's going to finish tonight, right? When's it going to reopen? We don't know,
nice.
Right? But we're going to suggest you get yourselves home because we don't know what's going to happen now." So we get home. So Rob's trying to get flights everywhere. Everywhere's either fully booked or there's no flights. Like, we're struggling, you know. And it goes on for a day or two. Airports are closing, Singapore's closing, Dubai's closing, all these airports are closing. Anyway, we got the last flight out of Australia, but we had to go via LA. It took us about 3 days to get home because when we got to LA, everywhere was like a ghost town. Yeah. All the shops were closed, no one was there. We had to wait 18 hours for the next flight to come from LA back home. And then when we got home, we had to go to London because the Manchester wouldn't let us in. So it was the hardest job ever to get home from Australia. That's it, for them couple of days. And then we get home and we're on a pandemic over here. Yeah. Football has stopped over here. And then when football did start, there was no fans in, and it was the worst spectacle ever, wasn't it?
Terrible, yeah.
Yeah. So that was our journey into Australia.
So did you never go back?
No, so what happened was, they stood everyone down. So when they stand you down, if you're an Aussie,
Yeah.
you get stood down in Australia.
Right.
The government pay your wages.
Yeah, okay.
If you're not an Aussie,
Yeah.
you don't get nothing.
Right,
Right.
okay.
So we come home, so we're not getting paid, which is what it is.
Yeah.
And then it looks as though a lot of the finances come out the club now,
Right.
because now we've got to go back. I think there was 3 games to go,
Right.
and we were going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we were only 2 points off top or second anyway. So we might have. I think we might have won it, or we might have come second.
Yeah.
But we were definitely the strongest team in the league because no one could play us. We've beaten everyone.
Yeah.
And then it almost came to a point where we were fighting with the club because they were selling. It was like they didn't want it to come back because they had to pay us. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So in the end, we didn't go back. So we just sacrificed it in the end.
That's disappointing, that, isn't it?
It is because it was so good, and we brought a few English lads over there. And the success story is 2 of the lads we brought over. One lad we brought over there is now playing for Charlton, so he's come back.
Yeah.
And we kick-started his career because he was going nowhere, so that was good. And 2 lads we took over there are now residents, so they've got the passport.
Right,
Do you know what I mean? And the families love it, and they've got a great life now.
Yeah,
They really have got a great life. The families there, the kids are in the swimming pool every day. I mean, no, they're the things I look back on and go, I made up, I've done it for them.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant, isn't it? You've had a stint in India then?
Yeah, so when the pandemic came and there's no one going to football, we're watching this. We're not allowed to go and train. We can't even go into a training ground and watch because, Robbie knows everyone.
Yeah.
And they're saying Robbie can't come in because of COVID. No one's allowed in.
Right.
So you're sitting in the house and you've got nowhere to go. There's no football on. But then someone's been in touch with Rob to say, look, there's a big company who's going to buy a club and take this club from the I-League and put it in the ISL. Now in India, ISL's a decent league, but the other leagues are not even close.
Oh, wow.
It's like going from Conference North and putting them straight in the Prem, say.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So that's the analogy, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
We'll use that. And anyway, we're just talking and talking. This company's a huge cement company, and they're going to buy the biggest club in India, who've got like 100 years behind them, but only at that level.
Right, yeah.
Because that's the only level they had.
Yeah.
Right. But in the last 10 years, the ISL's become a new franchise football, and they've got lots of players coming in from Morocco's and Brazil's, and all their foreigners are coming in. Australians are coming in. So it's at some level. What level we don't know because we've not been there. But we're sitting in the house and we're like, what do we do here? Well, let's go and have an adventure. Let's go and see what it's like. Let's go and see more culture. So yeah, let's go. So I'm looking forward to it. So then we've got to try and find some place. So now it's all happening really, really quick.
Nice.
Right. So the company are going, well, we might be buying it. We've bought it. Can you come tomorrow? Oh, hang on. We're going to buy some players now. So now we need a budget. Now we need to know what players can get. So then we've got to shop around and get players. Now, at the time, you're really looking at players who are a little bit older because most of the season has already started in a way.
Yeah.
Or they were under contract, if you know what I mean. So players out of contract, who's available? So we get a group of players and we flies over. Still height of the pandemic. We flies into Mumbai. And it was like your eyes opened up. I don't know if you've ever been to Mumbai, no. So when you fly into Mumbai, the first thing you notice is the shanty towns that surround the airport, and it's vast. Nice. It's miles and miles and miles of tin roofs, yeah. And you can see it. You can see the poverty there. You just see it. Then you get into the airport, and no one's speaking to you. You're just brushing your. It's nuts. It's humongous, and it's nuts. Luckily enough, we had people there to meet us and guide us. Otherwise, we'd have still probably been in Mumbai airport now, 4 years later. Right. So we get to Mumbai, and then we've got to go to Goa because what they done, they put a bubble in Goa. So every club is going to play in Goa. Every club's going to have their own hotel. Every club's going to have their own training ground, and you're going to get busted here, busted. It's going to be a mental shock. This. How are we going to deal with this? Well, we don't know yet. It's going to be dead interesting. So we gets to go it, and it's nuts. It's like the pandemic's not it here, has it? Right? It goes outside the airport, and there's a billion cars, and like can't even cross the road. We've got a little coach over there waiting for us, and it's just nuts. We're driving down the road, and we've got to stop because there's a load of cows on the road, and this is just how it is.
Yeah.
No, this is how they live. And then we get to the hotel, and we go straight to our room, and we can't leave our room now. We've got to isolate for 10 days. Right. So for 10 days, I get a knock in the morning. I have to get something up my nose for a jab or
for the COVID test.
The COVID test. My breakfast is on the floor. So pick me breakfast, me tray up, goes in, do my test, goes in. That's me done. Afternoon, knock, there's your food, bang. Tea time, they knock. It was like being in a prison, right? Yeah. Beautiful hotel we had. Yeah. But I've only got my room and I've got my veranda, but it was enough for me. I'm quite a guy who quite likes isolation anyway.
Oh, okay.
As long as I've got certain stuff like music with me, or my paper with me. So it's dead surreal, right? So we're all basically in our own room. So for 10 days, then all of a sudden we can come out now, can't we? So we can come out and we get to meet the players. So we're meeting all the Indian players. Got to get to know them. Don't know any of the names. Yeah. No, we've just been given. We got given 20 Indian players, and then we've got, I think, six European players with us. And we don't know what we've got. No, so we've got to go to training. So we go to training and we've got everything set out. We know we've got our plan. We know exactly what we're doing. And the next whammy they give us is the first day is you've only got 10 days before the season actually kicks off. So now we've only got 10 days with a gang of lads who we've never met. We don't know what level they are. They've all come from the I-League. None of them have come from the ISL. We've come in this league late. So all the best Indian players will be playing for other clubs. And you've got 10 days prep before you actually kick off the first game of the season against the champions. It's like, wow.
Throw anything else at us.
So then, to try and find out what level you're at, I'll always remember it. I've got it on video. Done a really big transfer football game. I've done it really big just so I get success, right? Just want success. Just want the players to get a little bit of confidence and pass the ball to each other and pass it through here and just get used to passing the ball. It's that big. It's actually impossible to give the ball away because there's loads of players here keeping it and there's only 2 players chasing it, but it's massive, right? But hey, I can't get the ball. I can't get no success. The success isn't happening. Thinking, I can't make it any bigger. This is as big. I've never seen nothing as big as this in my life. I've never done it as big as this. But either they're really panicking because we're watching them now, or obviously as also they're not of the level at all. Right. Do you know what I mean? So this is like, so anyway, we didn't do that was the ball work done. We're looking at it. You're trying to evaluate what are we going into here. So it was a time where Indian football is going to grow, but it's going to be with the younger kids coming through. Yeah, okay. We get a lot of the older lads who've had years of poor practice. This is how they do it. Yeah. Then that's what you've got, And it became a test. I still say now, out of all, we've been in 3 countries together and we've done a good job in 3, and that was the best job we've done.
Really?
It was, because we went 8 games undefeated out of a league of 20 games. So it's not far off 50% undefeated, right? Just to go undefeated, I think that was 2 wins and 6 draws, right? But just to be undefeated with the whole prep, where the players have come from, the quality, for me was a humongous achievement. And then it would have been more games, because the next part you have to understand over there is the officiating the games. Yeah, of course, yeah. There's no VAR there, and there's things that go on there that you will lose. Yeah. In fact, one English guy lost his job by saying something he shouldn't have said. I won't say it yet, but he said something he shouldn't have said, and I don't think he wanted to say it because he has got a family. He said something on TV because he was so het up because he couldn't find the words, and this is an experienced guy. He ended up saying a word, got him sacked. But it was a word he would never, ever have in his vocabulary. It just came out because he was so het up. And it gets you het up. The officiating gets you het up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It does here in this country.
No,
and
mate,
they've got everything.
You've got everything here. We've got everything here.
Yeah.
We're talking 2,000 times worse. It's like you've never seen nothing like it. Will he ever bring VAR in and bring some governance? Well, that would be interesting in that country because then there's nothing to hide behind, really.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So if it's offside, we can all see it.
Yeah.
Right? He's offside. End up. That's a penalty. It's a penalty. It's done. Whereas over there, well, that was one part of learning how to find discipline in yourself and composure. That's what you take from that country. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so when you go into these different countries and what you can take, and that's you know, I'm saying to go to Australia, them lads getting a new life was a big thing to take. We'll go in there, discipline and composure was a good one to take from there.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, the little spell of Forest Green with Dunk.
Yeah, Dunk, brilliant. Yeah. Took a team over.
Difficult job.
Yeah, who was struggling, to be fair, at the time. I think everyone struggled before us and after us. And it was a short, sweet, you know, we didn't do enough there. And as I say, we got relegated, didn't we? And it sadly changed. And Doug's gone up to Scotland, and I ended up going a different way anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously, I suppose Saudi Arabia was your last job coaching abroad. I mean, how did that come about? And how did you find it? Because there's a lot of talk about Saudi Arabia and the money spent, and you know, we've heard Ronaldo saying it's going to be one of the top 3 leagues in the next few years, and this, that, and the other. So there's always big interest, or certainly a lot of noise around it. How did you find it?
Well, I was at Forest Green, and you know, the summer was on. My mum went downhill, and you know, big part of me just didn't want to leave. Okay. Yeah. So I ended up coming out the game for a bit, and then Robbie got a job over there. So I ended up joining Robbie quite late, but supporting from a distance, really. Supporting from a distance, but it's a country that obviously have endless amount of money. And they're trying to change everyone's perceptions of and the quality overnight. Now, they have got quality already in their country of playing football. They do produce athletes. They can produce athletes, and lots of their footballers can be exceptional footballers. So, in the Cadsia team, they had a few young lads who were exceptional footballers. What they miss is probably the years of good habits that we've got. Nice. You know, will they ever get that? Probably not, because it's almost a culture thing. But can they grow? Well, they're trying really hard. They've got some big name players playing there now. Yeah. Certain clubs do get the fans. So I think I read some things on Gerrard's team didn't have many fans. Well, they actually do. They do when they play at home. Now, when they play away at certain clubs, there might not be many. But when Stephen's team play at home, they have got a boutique stadium, which will be 20,000. It'll fill. Yeah, they'll fill it. And there is a buzz. There is a bit of a buzz. So. Where are they going to get to? Well, they've got the World Cup coming, haven't they, in 10 years. So the whole build-up is to create a football ecosystem there. And I'm sure they will get to it. Nice. It might not be how you picture it, because we picture. So if we go to the pandemic football in the same country, in this country, and you go to the exact same 2 teams playing with fans, you'll see it's the fans that change the whole mentality of the game, nothing else. Because all you got to do is just go and watch a pandemic game. And then you'll realise, you take the fans away, it doesn't matter, you could be playing in any country in the world. You know, because you've seen it. You know. So, in
good
time,
experience, though.
Great experience. Nice. Great experience. All these countries, let's say to anyone really, all these types of countries, everything's always a positive experience. You know, whether from the outside, you might see Rob ended up leaving after 8 games. He hadn't lost, won 6 and drew 2. But that's another dynamic of football.
So
that's
why
like,
did he leave?
Because it's just it was just directors of football again.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, I honestly believe it's the most stupidest name given in football. A director of football. It's like a power. It's like a power surge. Like, and I'd love to say, well, what do you actually direct? Like, what do you direct? Explain, because when there's a manager when the team aren't playing well, it's always the manager who gets sacked. Why doesn't the director of football get sacked? You know, why is it always the manager then? If you're directing football and that's what you're telling everyone, well, it should be you, shouldn't it? You've directed it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like they throw everyone else under the bus. They get another one in, and if that works, great. And I've brought him in, and I'm good. But if it doesn't work, let's throw him under the bus. It's the most nothing title. They should. I hope if 777 buy the club, right? I hope they get rid of the title director of football.
What would you call it then?
I don't know. Chief scout. Give him some accountability. So I look at Everton now, and one thing that's not there and hasn't been is accountability.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And when I say accountability, use St. Tosin as an example. I know he got signed because he was fast and could run behind. You made a comment before that you've never seen. You're faster than him.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, you tell the owner of the board why you're paying 25 million and X amount of wages on him. And if you tell me it's because he's fast and he runs behind, and then when I watch him, he's slow, I'm sacking you.
Yeah.
I'm coming for you. I'm not going to come for the manager.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's accountability that always gets thrown at the manager.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no one knows.
And that's for me. This is the title. Just get rid of it. It's only a title. I'm saying to you, when I was scouting there, they threw a title over us. It's a title. No, you just say we're youth scouts. Who cares what we're called? As long as we do the job and we tell you exactly what we're trying to do. But it always seems to be the managers who get thrown under the bus and directors of football run away. So yeah, let's change the title. Let's make it a plea to get rid of that title.
You don't like it. I can tell you really don't like it. You at the moment you're head of football education, A&K football, and it says on your LinkedIn, it's alternative provision to help change the mindset in young students, offer support to make better decisions, help with qualifications and wellness workshops. So, like, what is it, and how's it come about?
In this country, and especially since the pandemic, right, you have an awful lot of children or youngsters who find it really hard in mainstream school.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of them come from backgrounds who have been battered by the cost of living.
Yeah.
Fuel poverty. These are all real things that are going on, right? These are, and you know, Everton, to be fair, there's guys who do all the food banks, Everton, they know better than anyone, but this is what's going on. So I had the opportunity to set up something, and I wanted to. And the idea is to try and help these kids and give them a place to breathe.
Yeah.
Put them in an environment where we can nurture them and hopefully give them time to educate themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got kids here now who haven't been to school for 3.5 years. And these are only 16-year-old kids. This is a 13-year-old kid who stopped going to school when he was 13. Because of the community they live in, it's such a deprived place. Life becomes so hard for families.
Yeah.
And there's no one who you're pointing a finger at. It just becomes really hard. And then putting food on the table becomes hard. And then what's happening is a lot of these kids are suffering. But it gets worse because no one really cares.
Yeah.
So when they get to 16 and they haven't got their English and their maths and they can't go on an apprenticeship, they're almost become like neat kids and can't find a way. There's no hope. So set this up to try and get them kids, to put them in an environment where they can speak, where they can actually, you know, if I've got a vision of them becoming to work with grown-ups, then they're going to have to be able to behave around grown-ups.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these kids have got anger issues and anxiety issues. So if you said to them, go and make us a cup of tea. Now, when I was an apprentice at Everton, when I go with the first team and they say, make me a cup of tea, I'm making you a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And if he shouts, because a cup of tea, so I'll make you one. Now, if I start saying, no, make your own, now it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Because now he's going to have a go at me, and I'm going to have a go at him, and all this big issues come.
Yeah.
Now, right now, a lot of these kids would say no, but then they're going to fail. So we've got to try and educate them. So, and it's a long road. They need more time with us. So this has now evolved now because of the need. So this is going to evolve into a 16 to 19. So give these kids in alternative provision kids, and so these are nearly all kids who won't go to school, to try and create something, an environment for them all the way through to 18 or 19. But when they get a little bit older, there might be more buy-in to do the English and maths in our environment.
Yeah.
Right? And if they can, then maybe we might be able to show them better opportunities for them. You know, success stories would be for them to go on and get jobs.
Yeah.
Get life, get a life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because right now they've got no life. Now I'm a grown up and I know that's where they're going, right? And I might get one wrong, but I'll get the majority right. So the alternative provision is being set up for that. And right now the kids we're taking in love coming. And they've nearly come in at 100%, whereas they're going in 0%. Right? So we know there's a big need for it. The 16 to 19s will come second. Now it's moving on to bringing a hub where I can feed the kids in that area. Because can we include sport where they run? But it's all about environment. Can they feel safe here? Can they run up here? Can they run down here and have something to eat and go back? And can it be a little bit like when I was growing up, when we used to have my mum's house who had the food in? A lot of these kids have got no food in their house, you see. But in my mum's house, there was food. And I go down to a youth club, run down there, play, come back, feed, go back down. Can I create that environment after school?
Nice.
If it can, then it'll take some respite off the parents. The kids are getting fed, they're happier. And then it goes on even more. Can I create a community up for the adults? Can I give us somewhere where we can help them with fuel poverty? So A&K is being born, and it's doing its job with the kids from age year 11 to year 6 to year 11. But now it's evolved to go bigger, and it's purely because the sign of the times now. Do you know what I mean? And we need loads of support. And to be honest with you, I've had lots of support, and I'm having lots of great meetings with big companies who see the need to help the kids. So, and the kids need to help themselves, but these are being battered from pillar to post. It might just take time. And I'm hoping by opening the 16th, 19th purely for AP kids that we can give them the time. We can change the perception of some areas. Some areas have got a really bad reputation. You know, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. You know, I grew up where I grew up. I'm sure if you'd have walked around at 10 o'clock at night years ago and to somewhere you shouldn't really go, there might have been some trouble. No, all through the day, there's never no trouble. And in these bad areas, supposedly, there's no trouble there. So we want to try and change the mindset around some of how people see some areas as well. But try and bring something back into communities and these kids and give opportunities and educate them. That would be the success stories there, and that's what we're striving to do now anyway. Well, we're based in Birkenhead at the moment, and we're looking at doing stuff in the Woodchurch. And if you ever get a chance, you know, right now there'd be two areas that people think really poorly of, you know, but people live there. You know, people live there, and it's not that bad, you know, and it just needs people like me to help show the people that, you know, we can do really good stuff here, and all these kids are good kids. So
brilliant. I mean, what a fantastic thing to do, and a big need. Last couple, just these are a couple of easy ones. Audience with Elton John. I mean, first of all, your missus is called Kiki D.
Yeah, that's just mad, isn't it?
I mean, that's incredible. What was this Elton John thing?
Well, I went. My wife years ago went to Las Vegas, and you had to bring your passport in. You must have looked young, maybe. And the fellow who took your passport to see if you could actually play on the whatever we were playing, he looked and go, Kiki D? As if she was the real Kiki D. No, it's not. But she tells me she's not named after Kiki D. She's named Kiki because her mum liked Kiki, and D because she lived by the River Dee. So I don't know the truth, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I've never really, I don't know, are you or aren't you? But her name's Kiki D, yeah. But no, Elton was doing his farewell tour before the pandemic started. That was going to be his farewell tour, and he was in Brisbane. So Robbie said, "You fancy going to watch it?" And Robbie's wife Kerry, she was over at the time. So Robbie had set it up. I said, "We're going to go and meet him before. Brilliant. I love Elton John. I'm a big music fan, mate. You know, I'm really big onto my music. So Elton John's brilliant. I mean, what an icon he is." So we went down. There was only me, Kerry, and Robbie and Elton in his room. It was brilliant. And it was brilliant, you know. He was talking about his footy. He knew his footy. He knew all about Robbie, obviously. And he was excited to meet Robbie. As Robbie, as I was to meet Elton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he should have given us the job at Watford. Look at the managers Watford have had and the turmoil they've been in since for the last 5 years. When Robbie said you should get at the Watford job, he actually should have, because we've done a better job than all them other fellas, all the ones they've had. No, it was brilliant. It was brilliant, you know. And to be honest with you, I didn't know the paper was going to like mention my wife crying when. Because the only reason she was crying is because Kerry was there and she weren't, and she was like, she wanted to be there because she was there the week before. Do you know what I mean? But it was just happened to be that, and that was brilliant. And then he went on, and what a showman!
It's fantastic.
He's outstanding, yeah.
Brilliant. I'd just seen he spent some time at Rail Vallecano.
That was years ago, yeah. It was through
before you started.
They were all like observation visits. Then
was that before, like, as you thinking about being a coach? Or you
just to see what people were doing. Vinny Samway set the first one up for me. And the other ones were while I was a coach at Blackburn. You know, lots of coaches get the opportunity to go out and just observe what other clubs are doing.
Nice,
So that's what they were, just observation visits. Yeah, brilliant. It's always good, isn't it, to see. I always like, you always take something from somewhere.
Yeah, well, you should.
Yeah, you do, even if it's not a great experience, you'll take something from it. But so, you know, always take good things from everywhere you go.
Okay, best player you ever played with?
Andre. Easy. Yeah.
Great partnership.
Apart from the 80s team, he's the best player to ever play for Everton.
Yeah. Wayne Rooney, up there.
Well, of course. Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
But Andre was...
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
Unbelievable. Would you return to coaching? Because obviously you've got the A&K stuff, which is unbelievable, you know, brilliant what you're doing there. Is that still on, do you think, if Robbie phones you and says, listen, we've been offered this, or what? Are you at a stage now where you...
No, I think if only with Rob.
That would be...
It'd only be with Rob. Only because, like, our relationship's so strong and it goes back so many years.
The trust and all that.
And the A&K is I'm there every day. You know, hopefully I set it up so I've got really good staff. All my coaches. See, I'm conscious of ex-players who retire.
Right. Okay.
So I'm always looking for ex-players who retire to become coaches here.
Okay. Yeah.
So all mine. So at the moment, there's a guy called John Murphy. He does the kids at the moment because he's an ex-player. John. I play with John at Chester. I think they're good with kids. I think ex-players are good with the right ones are good with kids. So it's two-pronged that because as far as supporting the community and supporting the AP kids, I'm also wanting to support the ex-players who are out of work.
Okay.
So that's why it goes two-pronged.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But you're not saying no to another job?
If something good with Rob comes up, then that will be... I would probably go with Robbie. Yeah. And then...
That'll still continue.
That will still continue, yeah.
What's Robbie like as a coach then? Because there's a lot of... I'm just thinking now, I don't know what your opinion on this is with the golden generation, if you like, because you've just mentioned Steven Gerrard before, and like him, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney, I mean, Wayne in particular. There's almost like a feeling that people want them to fail. It's weird. I'm not saying that the great coaches or they're not great coaches, but it's just sometimes there's like there seems to be like people are glad when they're not doing well. And Robbie Fowler's not really in that, but again, what you mean, what is he like with that? What do you think of the golden generation? I suppose it's two things. What do you think of that they over criticised or they just need to do better?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've never really looked at it that way.
Okay.
I've never really looked at it. All I'd say with Rob is I think as being a player and as being a coach and someone who actually cares about people, management is when you become a coach, it's not so much about all these mad tactics, right? I mean, you watch Everton every week. It was 4-4-2. There's no mad tactics, but you know, look, if you do have the points back, you're only 3 points behind Newcastle. With all them negativity, right? So my point being there is you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do that. But what you do need to do, you need to get the best out of the players you got.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So if you can be a manager who gets the best out of the players you've got, right? Most people know how to play football, right? Everyone knows how to play football. Sometimes you might just have a top of the range player or two, like the Leicester players that day. I mean, I'm sure Leicester were talking about get the ball to Mahrez. Right. You make runs behind, whatever they were doing, right? To be a good manager, I think you've got to be a good man manager. People have got to like you. You've got to be really honest. You've got to have real good values. So all this, I think, are all wrap around good managers. And Robbie's one of them.
Okay.
So really good. He knows how he wants to play, which is good, because it's dead clear then. So once it comes dead clear, it's how we're going to play. Right? And the training ground's a real good environment. All of a sudden, you'll get success. The problem is sometimes, is that training ground can be a problem sometimes, because you can have too many other people who have got a little voice, but talk really loudly, right? And you could have, Frank might have these attributes. Frank could have these attributes, but for some reason it's not worked. Why? Well, he might have, I don't know, I'm just saying out loud, he might have people at the training ground saying, oh, he's doing this, he shouldn't be doing that. He should. And this is the problem with football. It is the problem with football. There's too many outside influences, have too much to say. And all of a sudden you get a bad result. People are starting to listen now. What did you say last week about him? And then you get beat again next week. And you could be getting beat by playing quite well. But your striker could just be missing, right? And all of a sudden, that little voice has just got a little bit louder. And all of a sudden they go, well, the fans are on us back now. And it's just that big thing. I think now, to be a successful manager, you've got to hit the ground running wherever you go. Hit the ground running. Now, to be fair to Rob, everywhere we've gone like that, everywhere we've gone. But over here, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't even care to think, because I've got no time for directors of football anyway. I think most of them aren't in tune with the fans. I don't think most of them know what the fans actually want. So I don't know. But what I do know is his man management skills and his clearness are really good in players like him. And he's humble. Because let's have it right, he's one of the best players we've ever seen. You actually have to look at his 100 goals, and they're actually on a different level. So, you know, he's of that level. But no, he's done great as a manager, and hopefully he'll have a few more stints at it.
Brilliant. Listen, Tony, thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for giving up
Brilliant.
the time. I know you should have been somewhere else today, keeping the A&K going. Good luck with that. I worked in social care for 12 years. I know the gap and the need that is there, and anyone who gives back like that, I think it's tremendous. Great. So anything we can do, give us a shout. But best of luck with it. Thanks for taking the time.
Good. See you soon.
Cheers, mate.